Are you ready to unleash your creative razzle-dazzle? Then join the Canary Cry new stock producers and make some refrigerator art for the show. Show your support with your talent at canarycry.party. Your mom will thank you.
Razzle Dazzle. It's Body by Basil, the new exciting fitness craze that will get you Canary Cry swole in no time at all. Just listen to these quotes from our participants. My muscles are huge. It's all or Nephilim. You'll be an apocalypse warlord in no time. Don't wait. Order today and save 33% for just 4 easy payments of only $33.33. You too can have the body of a googly eye, VR headset wearing Nephilim warlord.
A new, raw deconstruction of news and analysis. Introducing Canary Cry New Stalk, the new intense fragrance made specifically for thinking outside the cage. From your favorite podcasters, Basil and Goms.
Gons, can you hear me? I'm hearing reports about a prototype FLIPPY arm.
Don't tell me. FLIPPY is coming for our jobs.
That's right. You know what this means.
Yeah, it's wake-up time. Think outside the cage.
Hey everybody, you're listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. We're about to get the show started. Thanks for being here. Of course, I want to remind everybody that you can get text message alerts from us. We send them out just right before every show. If we disappear off of YouTube, if notifications aren't turned on or they get censored or whatever, you can always just receive a text message to your phone before every show. And it's kind of fun because you can text us back. That's right. You can text it. We can't keep a conversation going because it's very expensive for us. But I do see your messages, and I want to give a shout out to all the text message people sending nice messages about Basil's Bunker on Friday. Look, folks, we're having fun over there. If you're not tuning in to the Basil's Bunker, you are missing out. Somebody sent, this is Friday for Basil's Bunker. Loving this show. Yes, thank you. Bunkaroos, we're back. Yes, very good. Let's go, Basil. Oh, yes, and then the instruments for the bunker. Somebody sent a nice list of instruments needed. Today we got a text message from someone here. They sent Proverbs 24:12, the NLT translations. What is that? I don't know what that is. Don't excuse yourself by saying...
Translation.
Oh, New Living Translation. Don't excuse yourself by saying, look, we didn't know. For God understands all hearts, and he sees you. He who guards your soul knows you knew. He will repay all people as their actions deserve. That is, yeah, I mean, hello, Proverbs 24:12. Thank you very much for that. And I'm sure the text messages will start rolling in from today's missive that has gone out. Remember, you should get on our newsletter. You can find a button to join the newsletter over at canarycry.party. Highly recommend it. Filled with all sorts of fun and interesting memes and art and fun stuff for the show. Also, a little note from me before every show. It's very fun. Somebody just texted and says, love Basil and Gons. Keep it up with Basil's Bunker, Bunkaroos. Hey, thank you very much. Bunkaroos out there. Let's let everybody know that they're missing out and they want to come join the Bunkaroo battalion on Fridays. Okay, get on the text message alert system. Get on the newsletter. What else is there? There's the Telegram channel. Look. If you're not on the Telegram channel, you got to get on the Telegram channel. Producer producer-produced Telegram channel. Of course, there's the Discord you can join by heading over to canarycry.party. It's got everything. Oh, we got Sir James in the chat giving a shout-out. Hola to the AOD4 focus group. AOD4 focus group. Honestly, one of the more fun social media-esque experiences that you can have. AOD4 focus group, people in the house, making it happen, helping to polish up and perfect Age of Deceit 4 before it is released into the wild. You can join that by going to canarycry.tube and signing up for a monthly support level over there as well. All right, folks, we're about to get this show started. Anthony H. sent us a pre-show prayer. Thank you, Anthony. And you can do that too by going to canarycrynewstalk.com. Hit that green tab. You can leave us a message. All right, let's get going.
Hello, guys. This is Anthony H. I just wanted to leave a little prayer and tell you guys thank you. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you. We come to you humbly in Jesus' name. And Father, thank you as always for Basil and Gons and their Canary Cry ministry. We thank you, Father, for all their hard work and all that they do, and all that they do, Lord. And we just ask, Father, you would be with them, mentally, physically, Lord, spiritually, financially, Father. Just, bless them in every area of their life, Lord, blessing their families and their homes and just everything, Lord. And we're just so humbled and grateful for this Canary Cry community. And so blessings for the producers and all the prayer requests. And again, Lord, everybody who makes this show possible. We're just so humbled and thankful and grateful. And so blessings for Basil and Gons, Lord, and just be with them always, Father, and bless them always in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gons as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 24th, 2024. This is we are live to tape on episode 751. And today, St. Trump signing on from Off the Grid. Razzle dazzle. I am your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gons, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California, the land of Newscomb, to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomenon. Well, let me just reference what day it is. It is World UFO Day.
Ah.
Yeah.
How did we
Congratulations, everybody. It's World UFO Day. You've made it. Another World UFO Day where we can talk about UFOs.
It's like New Year's Eve for UFO enthusiasts, UFO skeptics, UFO experiencers. How is there a celebration tradition for World UFO Day?
I think we are creating the tradition. We are trendsetters here.
Respectful to the UFO community.
The 1947 Washington State sighting anniversary, and so I don't know if there is a official World UFO Day, but there is on the Canary Cry calendar, and so in our world, it exists, and we shall celebrate by celebrating Trump, the first alien president.
Okay. All right. Well, believe it or not, I don't know how. It's just so confusing. It just never ends, Gons, the confusion. But doing Basil's Bunker on Friday, I just happened to stumble upon being able to stream on YouTube. So the YouTube is back, and this is our opportunity that happens every time we get a strike to scold the YouTube viewers and let them know that they need to follow us on other platforms so they don't miss a show. Because one of these days, it'll be our last strike on YouTube, and we will not be coming back. So that's the reason for canarycry.tube, taking back our streaming sovereignty. We're so close to that goal. You can go to canarycry.tube and sign up for a monthly producership there, and you'll get access to the Age of Deceit 4 focus group, which is some of the most fun that you can have on the internet right now.
Yep. You want to...
Okay, let's see here. It's interesting. We got an email from somebody who said that their vote is to get rid of the YouTube disclaimer.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we called upon a vote. It's totally possible that we did.
I think we did, yeah.
We call votes on all sorts of stuff, and we had one person respond, and this person said their vote is for getting rid of it. Maybe we need to get a couple more votes on.
Well, it's clearly not working. I mean,
it
if we're
is
still
clearly
getting
not working.
banned,
Although, I did go back and listen to the episode Gons.
Yeah,
it was one of your solo episodes, and I will say,
of course,
when Gons, has a solo episode, he can really get into some stuff that probably, somebody has a point about something. But that's what we love about this whole process. Again, like we've both said, the YouTube disclaimer in the experience of the process of putting on the show is very helpful, because it's like a little breather before I go into having to do the whatever it's called, the rundown, stuff like that. So if we could figure something else out to put there to get that little breather, so we can center our minds and
you can just
for the
adapt.
storm.
You got to adapt. You got to roll with the punches. Just know psychologically that we're going to be jumping into the rundown much sooner, and so we don't have to dilly dally. Like
I hear you. I hear you. I think you're.
It's a mentality.
I think
it's a mentality game.
Your ancestral memories,
my
of
epigenetic,
your
activation.
epigenetic tiger mom activation is coming out here, and
right,
that's okay. I think we should at least play it one last time here, just in case any more votes come in.
So this is the farewell disclaimer. The last time people will hear it,
I don't think we should throw our hat over the fence on that right now. There's a bit of a rash decision, but I would say at least we'll play it one more time here.
Well, maybe it's a 38-second thing. Maybe we can condense it into like a 10-second thing.
See, what I'm saying is I need the 30 seconds to look at the document to plan the rundown is what I mean.
You don't plan before we go live, man.
No, it's part of the beauty of it is that it's not, it's extemporaneous. We don't want to be too scripted.
That's true. We are definitely not scripted on this show.
We're not as scripted as, say, an advertiser would prefer us to be.
Yeah.
Kind of the fun is what's going to happen next. But give me that 30 seconds and we'll do the rundown.
All right, here we go.
It's time for a disclaimer.
Now listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys.
I've got it. Okay, the chat is speaking up about the disclaimer.
I see that.
Suzuki says, I love the disclaimer. Psalm 40 says a tribute jingle, and I think he's on to something. He says, we could replace it with a jingle in memory of it. The creator of the disclaimer jingle, Caleb, says he worked very hard, and he did. And it's appeared in pretty much every show since he created
of episodes,
it. So maybe we can do like a tribute to the disclaimer jingle. Like what's Jack Black, what's his band called, where he has this is not the best song in the world, but this is the tribute to the best song in the world. So maybe something funny like, this is a tribute to when we used to disclaim for YouTube.
I don't know if Jack Black with the Baphomet shirt supporting Biden is the greatest model that we should follow.
Okay,
but
go make a YouTube video about it, Gons. What I'm saying is we need a tribute jingle to the disclaimer jingle. And if we can find a clever way for it to somehow be effective as a disclaimer, that would be even better.
Maybe like a remix of the one we have now or something.
You're on it, Caleb.
Producers are
You're
on it.
The
Producers
people have spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman says she likes it too. All right. Okay, here we go. Ready for the rundown?
I believe so, yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
On the week of the most anticipated presidential debate in history, we are checking up on old Trumpy Pants. He has made some very serious comments in the wake of Biden's not very serious comments. He's talking about how Christians, or Trump is telling Christians their religion will be in tatters if Biden wins. He's also, Trump loves the 10 Commandments in public schools and says there may be a major step in religious revival because of this. And then some not so favorable comments by some members of the alternative media. Trump suggests green cards for college graduates. We will be checking up on old Trump before the debate here. Then we're checking in on Flippy, a return of the gas pumping Flippy. That's right. We were about to lose our freedoms of pumping our own gas. Thanks, Oregon. And then middle part of the show here, checking in on Russia. Real World War III, it's happening, and the media is playing just such a beautiful role. They are playing their role perfectly on reporting about what MAGA thinks about strike on Crimea. The magicians are at work, folks. You're gonna love it. Then at the end of the show, Ecuador's president suggests a bizarre plan to build a prison in Antarctica. It's all happening, Gons, but first, our lead stories.
All right, we're talking Trump. I need you louder, Trump.
We will launch a new age. I am innocent. Innocent. They're coming after me.
Too loud.
They love killing.
Sounds good to me.
Yep. Yeah, so it is debate week. Big debate coming up. We talked about a little bit about the situation in the last episode with Chris Shilzilla and his analysis of the debates and getting featured by the Tucker Carlson founded outlet Daily Caller. It's this Thursday. It's going to be on CNN, I think, right? It's all the usual suspects. But in the meantime, we got to take a look at what some of the stuff that Trump is doing on his path to the debates.
Laying the foundation for the debates.
Yep. The first one is coming from ChristianPost.com, and I guess it's a little different for us to cover Christian Post, but it is one of these big, huge Christian outlets. Probably one of the biggest ones. Was it Christian Post, or there was another Christian news
Relevant
outlet that
Magazine is another big one.
Yeah, but there was one with the word Christian in it, and it was horrible with ads. Anytime you visited the site, they just give you 50,000 ads.
Something, of course, that we all know in our hearts, but it's nice to be reminded of sometimes. These big mainstream Christian outlets are not necessarily run by Christians.
Right.
It's a product. It's a product by a corporation. So always something to keep in mind when you, and of course, a very useful tool for anyone trying to guide the Christian voting bloc in one way or another. These are sort of inherently political operations.
Yeah. So the headline here, Trump tells Christians their, quote, religion will be in tatters, end quote, if Biden wins. Quote, we answer to God in heaven. So very strong, powerful, faith-driven words. Former President Donald Trump told a national gathering of Christian conservative activists Saturday not to let their secular left, quote, silence and, quote, shame them in a bid to keep them from voting, saying Christianity would be in tatters if President Joe Biden is reelected. Is it tatters or taters?
It's taters.
Tater tots.
The Christianity will be in a nice stew, potato stew.
On Saturday, Trump addressed the Faith and Freedom Coalition's Road to Majority Conference in Washington, D.C., encouraging attendees to do all they can to encourage fellow Christians to vote in the upcoming November election, bemoaning that not all Christians vote. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of our audience here would fall into the category of either maybe voting because it's tradition, not so much in the belief of the system, or not vote at all. I've gotten a lot of people message me like, I'm not voting. Why? There's no point. And I used to be there too. And so
interesting note here being pointed out, or at least it's the subtext so far in this article. This, what is it called? Christian conservative activists. What is it called?
Faith and Freedom Coalition.
Faith and Freedom Coalition. It must be of some category of organization that they're not technically allowed to tell people who to vote for.
Right.
It's very similar to what we saw in, I think, last episode, where the Democrat organizations were throwing voting parties, giving away Plan B pills and beer and whatever.
Right.
But they're only allowed to encourage these people to vote. They're not allowed to campaign for Biden. It seems a little similar here, where they're like, no, faith and freedom. We just want Christians to vote. Wink.
Well,
for whoever you want. Also, here's Trump.
Well, the scam, he's playing the game. The scam is the whole system is the scam. So, of course, both parties are going to abide by the rules, so to speak, or bend it as far as you can, I guess. It's very similar to, professional athletes for the NFL or the NBA or something promoting all kinds of leftist stuff, but then their whole message is like, make sure to vote. It's
not a matter of the scam necessarily. It's just an interesting perspective to keep in mind when we're talking about who this Christian organization is.
Right.
They're obviously of a category of organization who is not allowed to tell you who to vote for.
And we know Trump is very serious about getting this group, the Christians in America, to vote this time, because he says here, we need Christians to turn out in the largest numbers ever to tell crooked Joe Biden, Joe, you're fired.
Nice.
Said Trump. He brought out his biggest punchline. He brought it out for the Christians to turn up. So he's really serious about this.
I bet these organizations just beg him to say that.
Of course. There's probably a price tag saying it. Or favors or something. Quote, the radical left is trying to shame Christians, silence you, demoralize you, and they want to keep you out of politics. They don't want you to vote. That's why you have to vote, he maintained.
Yeah,
quote,
where's the lie? Where's the lie, though?
I know, it's tough. That's what I'm saying. Quote, if you vote, we cannot lose. They don't want you to vote. But Christians cannot afford to sit on the sidelines. If Joe Biden gets in, Christianity will not be safe in a nation with no borders, no laws, no freedom, no future, end quote.
I could see someone on the left listening to this or reading these quotes and be like, oh my gosh, he's such a liar. He's such fear-mongering. He's blah, 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 blah. But any Christian in the country, this is not a surprise for them to hear. I mean, they are experiencing it. Of course, it's different regionally. Different regions have different sort of religious or faith or lack of faith makeups in the community. But yeah, this comes as no surprise to anybody. We're seeing this happen every day.
One can argue that he is talking about people like us, Basil. We're being shamed as Christians, at least on certain platforms. We've been silenced. They've tried to demoralize us and keep us out of politics, not getting too passionate about one party or the other, that kind of thing. So, I mean, maybe we're victims of the psyop, and Trump's trying to wake us up.
I think every Christian is a victim in the psyop, no matter what, even if they're not a podcaster or whatever. The shame and silencing of Christians has been it's been a social force, a cultural force for in the past 5 to 8 years has just been sort of exhausting. Which I think, again, interesting how we're seeing a little bit of a pendulum swing culturally, at least on the internet, where Christian principles are becoming, even by self-proclaimed secularists, more and more effective at giving people purpose, giving people direction, and generally considered good for society.
Says here, after predicting the quote, your religion certainly will be, I think, in tatters, Trump highlighted the criticism the Trump administration has faced regarding its treatment of Catholics. Trump asked, quote, what's going on with Catholics? He lamented. That, quote, they are being persecuted. What is that all about? He inquired before suggesting that Biden, a Catholic, has no idea what the heck is happening. Quote, I don't think it is him. I think it's the people that surround him, the fascists, communists, he said. Quote, they're young, very smart, vicious people. This reads exactly like a Trump thing. That's really interesting. But, the Catholic thing is interesting. Leaning into Catholic persecution?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Is this just a way to try to appeal to the
mean-
Catholics who are supporting Biden just because he's a Catholic and trying to
Well,
shake him
they
out of it or
mentioned
something?
the FBI memo and calling Catholic traditionalists some sort of terrorist group, and I think that's a big wake up call to all Christians, not just Catholic, that the
Yeah, of course. We're
FBI
gonna
is
talk about the whole thing.
categorizing
Yeah.
traditionalist people as a danger to national security. I mean, that is remains a pretty insane thing to have on the books at the FBI.
All right, maybe put a side note in the red book. Pope Trump. Just
That
throwing it
is
out
not anything, Gons. You're going to
That
have to
is
give
just
us a little
throwing
bit
it
more
out there.
than that.
Oh no, Trump after he finishes his presidency, the next 4 years, what is there left to do but
Oh,
become
you mean
Pope?
becomes Pope?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well,
Why not?
that's a
He's gonna
win
fix
for
the
me,
Catholic
so I'll let
Church.
you put
He's
it
gonna-
in there if you
he's,
want.
he's gonna fix the Vatican. So yeah, they go through the whole FBI thing here. They give a few examples, and we don't have to ruminate through all of this. But overall, yeah. Let me just read this. Trump said he plans to appoint a rock-solid conservative to the U.S. Supreme Court, although there's no guarantee that a vacancy will arise in the next 4 years. He's also announced. He has not announced the name, but he said who he. I mean, he has a person ready for a VP, a candidate, VP candidate. So, a lot to unfold, but yeah.
Well, an
reaching
interesting
out to the
promise.
Christians.
Interesting promise here made by Trump. It says Trump categorized these brave Americans as persecuted Christians, reiterating his previous vow. Oh, it's a previous vow. Okay. To create a new federal task force on fighting anti-Christian bias, designed to investigate all forms of illegal discrimination, harassment, persecution against Christians in America.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of a vibe of not necessarily theocracy, but
I mean, it's Christian
classifying,
nationalism.
well, classifying Christians as a protected class by the
I don't
federal
like this.
government is a little bit of a complicated idea for me to wrap my head around.
I don't like it. My initial reaction is it's sort of the same thing as Satanists or Satanic Temple coming out and saying, well, you can have your religious texts on a wall, so we can have ours too.
Right.
Feel.
Yeah. Whatever's done in the name of protecting Christianity will inevitably be done because the Constitution will be
but what
done
if you're a
for
Christian
any
that's
religious
against
group.
Yeah, but what if you're a Christian against that whole thing? Then what?
Against
happens?
what? The Constitution?
No, not the Constitution. But if can a Christian offend another Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Protected class or not, it would have to be dependent on the crime or something, right? Anyway, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Let's continue on here. So Trump's continuing on with this religious tone to his campaigning here. Forbes.com. Trump loves 10 Commandments in public schools. Says Louisiana law could be major step in religion revival. He used the big R word, the revival word. Former President Donald Trump weighed in on Louisiana's controversial new law requiring schools to display a poster or framed document listing the Bible's 10 Commandments, saying it could, quote, or it could be, quote, the first major step in the revival of religion that is, quote, desperately needed in the U.S. I mean, he should be clear on what religion. I mean, you can argue that the ruling class, the ruling social engineers of the country now have their own religion. I mean, revival of religion. I know what he's talking about, but
yeah, he's talking about Christianity. But there's again something that just sits a little weird for me in having at least the claim that hanging up a religious document, a 10 Commandments in a school,
Is a law.
maybe being mandated by the state, whether it's federally or statewide, this sort of legislate people into the kingdom of God. And I mean, you think about the 10 Commandments, everybody knows the 10 Commandments. That's the sort of the wonderful thing about the 10 Commandments is whether or not you believe in God, whether or not you believe in Bible, pretty much everybody agrees with the 10 Commandments. I could see it being sort of compared to to hanging pride flags in class or hanging whatever. What you'll run into again is First Amendment stuff, where if the Ten Commandments can be hung up, then anything can be hung up. The satanic, whatever they're called, whatever their Ten Commandments are.
That's actually mentioned in this article, so we'll get to that. But yeah, my initial reaction, of course, because of what we've experienced in the last decade and a half or something, I would imagine a lot of conservatives, a lot of Christians see this news or saw this news and thought, oh, this is good, this is progress, we're moving in the right direction. But yeah, it's the point of a law requiring it to happen, and then I don't know. I don't like. I mean, you made the argument. We were talking about this before the show, Basil, and you had said that you can. It can be argued that the Ten Commandments undergird a lot of our constitutional rights and just the law in general in terms of the country and basic social, agreements, contracts. But also, if the school, I don't mind it if it is leading people to Christ. If the Ten Commandments are written there as the example of, hey, these are the values that God laid out in the Old Testament, and none of us can follow it. And there's only one that's followed the law and fulfilled it, and that's Jesus Christ. If that's the message, fine. But if it's anything other than that, if it's state-related, law-related, we can punish you, that's where it starts getting, theocratic, whatever you want to call it. There's room for corruption and all that stuff.
Again, any government getting involved in
using the religious vehicle or spiritual vehicle of some kind to enforce.
Yeah, why not put John 3:16 underneath? There you go. Right. Now we're getting somewhere.
Why just the Old Testament? Am I being anti-Semitic if I say that? All right, quote.
I don't think you were until you said that.
I gave him the idea. Anybody that wants New Testament on public schools is now anti-Semitic. There's a quote here, all caps from Trump. I love the 10 Commandments in public schools, private schools, and many other places for that matter, end quote, Trump said in the Truth Social post late Thursday night. And I want to remind everybody, Donald J. Trump does have his X account. It was reactivated. I think he posted on, August 24th, 2023, DonaldJTrump.com with his mugshot. Brilliant. And then he just changed, I think this happened today or yesterday, the header on his X account profile page. So somebody's in there, somebody on the Trump team is in there. I would imagine they're getting ready for a Trump return on X. And that,
you think so?
I don't know if it'll be, I think it's one of those plays where if it's looking like he's going to win, he won't say anything until after he wins. But if it's looking kind of problematic, maybe he might tap into that resource. That's just my guess. But
yeah, back to this Forbes thing. I just doesn't quite sit right. The idea that the state putting the Ten Commandments in class, like a state-induced religious revival. If anything, we know that the state getting involved in true revival. It never really works well.
Yeah, trying to force everybody for revival using.
And what is the
law,
what does that mean
law?
to? What does that mean? What does that mean to when he says that? Kind of same with what does it mean for Christianity to be in tatters? Because historically, Christianity has exploded in times of persecution. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing what's going on now is the persecution is so obvious and so sort of systemic with the FBI getting involved in everything that Christianity, whether it's true sort of salvation or respect and love of Christian morals and ethics or principles, gaining more and more popularity, whatever it is, it's because of the persecution that's been going on for years now.
I would argue that we've seen a revival in a sense. It's just been more in a political context. Like people are being polarized into political parties with that whole revival-ish type thing. But yeah, in that context, it's almost like Trump is stating the obvious and then almost like a threat, like, oh, it's going to go away. Like this uprising that we're not uprising, but the revival-ish thing we're seeing now, it's going to go away. if you don't elect me, kind of thing. Which
Yeah,
I don't know.
no,
He
I
might be right
think
about that.
I guess maybe I think it's opposite. I think if Trump says this, Biden's persecuting
I understand that's what you're saying. I know what you're
Christians.
saying. I know what you're saying. I'm saying
Okay.
he's arguing the other point.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. He's getting it a little bit opposite as far as historical accounts are concerned.
Right.
But a very effective sort of threat to Christians.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, it's the preservation thing. A year before passing the Ten Commandments law, Louisiana passed another that requires the phrase, "In God we trust," to be displayed on signage in every public school classroom and told instructors to teach students about the phrase as a patriotic custom, in quotes, a move that has been criticized by some as a form of religious coercion. And we've talked about the origin of the phrase, "In God we trust." I know Dr. Future talked about it in his book. Do you know about the history of that, Basil? The phrase "In God we trust" being on our currency?
Yeah, it was added like in the 40s or something.
So the phrase first appeared in 1864 on a 2-cent piece, so it was a coin. But yeah, it wasn't until 1956 when Congress passed a law making "In God We Trust" the national motto of the U.S. and the phrase being put on our money, starting in 1957. So it's a pretty late thing. You know, I don't
it
know.
was added to the Pledge of Allegiance late as well.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where, our generation, the generations that come after us, we were born into a world where, I don't know, some of that stuff was already in place, but to think that it wasn't there until very recently is very interesting. So yeah, here's a satanic thing here. Surprising fact down here. Again, this is that Forbes article.
Real quick. I also don't think it takes away from like the importance or the impact. The fact that it was added later, I almost think it adds to the impact of having those things added onto the dollar bill and added into the Pledge of Allegiance. Because it's like, we did a pretty good job making this money and making this Pledge of Allegiance. But you know what it means? You know what it needs? It needs a little bit of God. The fact that they improved it, Gons, in the middle of the 20th century. There's something to be said about that.
Sure. I mean, okay. Yeah. Maybe that's the message to the public, but I question what God they were talking about when they really put it on there. But, that's just me. Surprising fact, the Satanic Temple has said it will start providing classes for public school students in Oklahoma under the new religious instruction law. The organization has put out sign-up sheets for what it calls its Helion Academy of Independent Learning, or HAIL, HAIL. And spokesperson Lucen Greaves told local news stations the group has worked with educators to build curriculums. Quote, "The Satanic Temple believes that public schools should be entirely free from religious influence," the group said. Quote, "Nevertheless, if other religious groups insist on forcing their way into our schools through legislation, we will ensure our members' children enjoy the same opportunities as those of other religious backgrounds." I think that's what we were talking about earlier. So, yeah, it's the double-edged sword of this type of thing, right? You do it for Christianity. That's great. Fantastic. Now you open the door for the Satanists and, the whole thing.
Well, and there's another side of it that I think is being, is part of the distraction, is to distract away from the real sort of shame, which is banning children from praying in schools. Banning them from bringing their Bibles, like the personal self-expression of religion. It's one thing to not force every kid in the class to pray, but it's a different thing to restrict a child from exercising their religious beliefs in school. Because, we'd probably say, hey, you should let the kids pray in school if they want. Let them have their Bible studies, let them bring their Bible, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. Those are sort of, First Amendment expressions of religion, not necessarily being endorsed or forced by the state, when unfortunately just the opposite is happening. They're putting the 10 Commandments in schools here. It's Louisiana. I'm sure kids are allowed to pray in Louisiana, but who knows? But the banning of Bibles, the banning of a kid just praying in the lunchroom, that kind of stuff, that's been happening since we were in school. Like, that's a long tradition of specifically banning self-expression of religion in schools. And it kind of feels like, yeah, switching the conversation to state-mandated religious material is a good distraction from actually allowing freedom of religion, kids expressing that in school. So, you know, it's always a good distraction.
Yeah, I've seen over the years, the last few years, a lot of people complaining how the Islamic children are allowed to take their breaks and, you know, pray to Allah and do all that stuff. But if a Christian brings a Bible, then, you know, you get kicked out, you get detention or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, imagine all the people, Basil, living together without any problems. Just
okay,
doing the thing. Isn't that America? Isn't that what America has been, other than other people coming in telling us that we have problems? Let's see. Oh, I just want to mention this real quick. I was trying to finish it off with the X post, but yeah, Trump's going to talk at the Bitcoin convention in July in Nashville. So there's that. Okay. And then the green card thing.
This was interesting. Let me run with this one for a second. This was Trump floats green cards for non-citizens college graduates. Says former President Donald Trump suggested in a podcast released Thursday that non-citizens in the U.S. should automatically get green cards when they graduate from college. What I want to do and what I will do is, you graduate from a college, I think you should get automatically, as part of your diploma, a green card to be able to stay in this country, Trump said. And that includes junior colleges too. Trump made similar comments during his 2016 campaign, only to limit legal migration when he got in office. Trump world was losing their minds about this. Laura Loomer, this self-described biggest, you know, Trump fan on the planet, I couldn't understand it. It was sort of this trickle-down effect from the sort of most statist MAGA people like Laura Loomer, all the way down to sort of, you know, sort of your blue-collar podcasters and stuff. Were losing their minds about the idea that people who come to the U.S., go to college for 2 or 4 years, would get access to a green card after graduation. And well, straight up, Laura Loomer is like, I disagree with Trump on this. I think he is wrong, which are not words that she has ever spoken out loud. And it was kind of confusing me because obviously Trump is sort of referring to the benefit of brain draining other countries. You know, if they come to the U.S., they get smart, you give them jobs, we take that talent away from other countries. But people were just on one about not letting college graduates get green cards. And I think they're missing a pretty important part of this, which is illegal immigrants, as far as at least in general, illegal immigrants are not given access to college. I'm pretty sure.
You can't get into college.
You need
if you
documents.
Don't share your papers.
Yeah, you need documents to get into college. I mean, forget about financial assistance documents or whatever. I mean, I think you need your basic documentation to get into college. It's not like somebody's somersaulting over the border and rolling right into Harvard.
I was about to say even junior colleges, but in California, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's like some program or some state that has something funky. But, you know, other than that, most immigrants who go to college in the U.S. have gone through the legal process. You know, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but you apply for like an education visa and, you know, to get vetted and all that kind of stuff. And then why would they send them back? You spent all your money in the U.S. educating these people. Why not keep them here?
Yeah. So I think the big issue here is that the Laura Loomer crowd is simply triggered by the word immigrant or migrant. And there's no clarification on illegal immigrants, because if they're here legally, but they're not citizens, if they get through college, it's not the craziest, most radical idea to be like, okay, yeah, you get an American citizenship. You finished an education system here.
Yeah, and to a degree, even if they are illegal, and they go, undocumented, illegal, whatever, newcomers.
Sure.
Even if they are undocumented or came across illegally, and they go through college and they finish college and they get a college degree, that's a lot different from
It's
the
a lot of
guys
investment going
from the
on.
guys and gals, right? It takes a certain chutzpah to make it through college, especially in like Harvard, MIT, which is referred to in this article here. That's way different from just somebody waltzing in with no plan to really, pursue the real benefits of America for hard work, cleverness.
So you don't think the core people doing the the trafficking and
yes,
all
the
that
coyotes.
They're
I don't
not
think
gonna
the
hop
coyotes
in
are trying to go to college.
I mean, it could be a long play. And if they adopt the long play game, this could be a trap.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong, and certainly there are some people, some forces out there who are trying to play the long game with the lax immigration rules. So that I understand, but of course, I think there's a little bit of a psyop here because traditionally, Republicans and conservatives have been vocally in favor of making legal immigration easier. Not easy, but easier, more accessible. That's been the traditional conservative take on it, which is like, hey, we don't want illegal immigration, but we realize we're great and we want the best talent from around the world. Let's, kind of make it easier and more accessible, maybe less expensive for people to do it legally, and then there'll be less people doing it illegally. I mean, that's kind of the logical, straightforward, traditional conservative take. But it does make me question the possibility for PSYOP, for people like Laura Loomer and others. Sorry, she's just the most sort of popular one who was caught talking about it. The sort of radical right, I guess, or MAGA to a fault, if that's possible.
Super MAGA.
It seems like a little bit of a sabotage operation to the possibility of some like real beneficial immigration reform that would cut down on even the need for illegal immigration.
Right. Yeah, that
because
makes
obviously,
sense.
I mean, it's clear that the elites know that the economy, we need more people, and that's there whether we like it or not. The way
the whole
way
world.
that the debt-based system is created, you need a constant growth in people, and now people are not having babies. The birth rate is down. We need more people, or else the whole society collapses. And the left is just like, of course, letting them flood in, doesn't matter, whatever. They're all really good people. Nobody bad comes over the border illegally. But the right, also recognizes this, and they're like, okay, let's make it easier and cheaper for people to actually do it. And I think it's more of a sabotage against what I think is a pretty level-headed take for conservatives to have.
Sure. Yeah, well, he's been busy. That's Trump. Very busy. Very busy.
Busy
We'll see what he does. Can I just touch on this very quickly, just to balance it out? Okay, we're not trying to promote one candidate over the other.
Armageddon's on the way.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Joe's really busy trying to keep up with Trump. According to India Today, I picked India Today because of our whole
good PSYOP
PSYOP thesis.
PSYOP operation here. Great.
Yeah. The headline here: White House promotes controversial U.S. officer Tyler Cherry to key post. And why don't you describe the photo of Tyler Cherry at the top here, and then I'll...
Now, this is fun, Gons. This was fun for you and me to kind of go through before, because you, admittedly, are a little bit more isolated when it comes to certain groups of people. You got kids, you're very busy, you're not necessarily interacting with lots of popular culture. And you just really had a fun time looking at this guy. Now, this guy is probably 30. He's got a big mustache. He's got kind of large, kind of Jeffrey Dahmer glasses. That's not an insult. That's just a description. He's wearing a black and white sort of Beetlejuice striped suit and has a mullet. And not not like a Texas mullet. This is like a San Francisco mullet. There are differences. Which is an unusual look for somebody to be in the cabinet of a president. Right?
Oh, you gotta describe his stash. He's got a stash. He's got
a nice big stash.
Beautiful earrings.
Oh, yes. Oh, the earrings. Yes. Big, like hoop gold earrings. And Gantz was particularly, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners will also agree that this is really cranking up the knobs when it comes to the visual aesthetic of somebody in the LGBT community. And I'm here to tell you, this guy really just looks like a fairly normal LGBTQ plus person. This comes as no surprise to anybody who lives in a place with large members
you live
of
in the
this
swamp.
Sure. Now, you are going down to one of his social posts, which is one of the things that a lot of people are having a lot of fun with this new guy. Joey Manarino has a tweet here, says, "This is Tyler Cherry." I don't think that's his real name, but that's beside the point. Biden just promoted him to Associate Communications Director at the White House. Why? Take a guess. In 2015, he tweeted, quote, "The modern day police system is a direct evolution of slave patrols and lynch mobs." And he prayed, quote, "even harder for an end." Oh, I have to click a button to expand the tweet. And oh no, it's just gonna crash my computer. Do you have it open on?
An end to a capitalistic police state motivated by explicit and implicit racial biases.
Of course. He also helped boost Russiagate, and in 2018, he called for ICE to be abolished. If only you have to look at him alongside Backdoor Pete and Rachel. Okay, there's some names in there not appropriate for the show. And, you know, it has a social media post of him where he's wearing a half-length fishnet shirt with some rose petals sort of draped over him. And he's got a new pair of just adorable earrings here. Not usually the aesthetic you're looking for somebody to work in the White House. However, I think people on the left are not surprised at all. And really, people on the right are not surprised at all. But I think the most offensive part of him is the absolute radical far left stuff he's been into. He's actively been vocal about. And of course, you know, there was another social media post. Oh, this is from 2014. Wow, they really went back. He said, "Cheersing in bars to ending the occupation of Palestine. No shame and F your glares. Hashtag I support Gaza. Hashtag free Palestine." You know, I think the boomer generation is really running into an inflection point because, you know, don't dye your hair. Don't get tattoos. What if you run for office someday? Don't say things that could be controversial. It's an interesting inflection point here where it's specifically the people who are, whether it's unavoidable or whether it's an actual bonus, you know, your radicalism online, your extraordinarily unique aesthetic, and you know, public not performance, but public facing PR, whatever, tends to not really be a problem anymore. And of course, this guy's got tattoos all over the place, got his pierced ears, et cetera, et cetera. So you know, I think it might sort of signal that the boomer influence in protect your image because you might want to join the government someday is starting to meet its end, I think.
You know, you know how Satan is described in Ezekiel 28, how he's sort of he's like a musician. Like people have described him as the worship leader in heaven before he rebelled and all this kind of stuff. Maybe the Antichrist will be a SoundCloud rapper.
Okay. If not the Antichrist, at least the Secretary of Transportation or something.
Well, I'm just thinking, you know, by the time we get somebody in office in some kind of high level of government that has a face tattoo or a forehead tattoo, especially, probably a SoundCloud rapper that made it big. Kept
I
ascending.
could probably list a couple of SoundCloud rappers who claim to be the Antichrist as sort of part of their
That's
brand.
true. I did post Lil Pump tattooed Solana on his forehead. I don't know if that was real, but man,
because he's trying to pump Solana.
I don't think it worked. It's down. But
yeah. I think you had questions about why is the Biden administration going so far, just going so hard in the paint to get just like this such a visually radical set of people in their administration. And I think it's because Trump has a lot of claims to, records and firsts and bests and things like that. And one of the firsts that the Trump administration accomplished was Trump picked the first openly gay cabinet member in history. But Obama didn't do it. Biden didn't do it. Nobody did it. Trump has the plaque on his wall. He picked the first openly gay cabinet member, a detail that both the left and the right kind of don't want anybody to know.
It goes against both sort of messaging going on. I remember this being a talking point of a lot of truther types back then, 2019-ish, inclusive or hypocritical mixed reviews for Trump campaign's LGBTQ merchandise. There's that famous picture of Trump in 2016 holding the gay flag.
Yep. And so maybe the Biden administration is trying to sort of distract from that historic moment of the Trump cabinet by being like, okay, you may have had the first openly gay person in your cabinet, but we have the most openly gay people in our cabinet.
Not just the most in number, but the most
intensive
in their preferred presentation.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So there you go.
That's the contrast of the Biden campaign versus the Trump campaign. Trump asking for the Christians to vote. Biden bringing in more interesting fellers into the fold there.
There you go. Lots of ways to live, lots of ways to run a country. Well, all that and more promises to keep this a busy week, Gons, because it is only Monday.
It is Monday.
What day is it? Monday. Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Yep, it's Monday. Here we are, everybody. Thanks for being here. YouTube, you're back. Welcome. Go follow on other platforms, please. And other than that, Gonz, you have anything exciting happen over the weekend?
No, I know you had some kind of dentist appointment last week.
Yeah, Thursday.
I have a dentist appointment coming up this week.
Huh.
On Wednesday, so we might have to do.
What are you getting done, bro?
Show.
Tell me about your problems. Are you getting Is it aesthetic? Is it voluntary? You getting a grill? You getting some veneers?
Yeah. All my front teeth, diamond grills, been saving up for 20 years to make it happen.
Good.
So I'll be in that class of people now. No, but I'm just letting everybody know we're probably gonna have either a very early show on Wednesday, or Basil will be solo.
Yeah, you went ahead and planned that for a show day.
I didn't plan it. I actually didn't plan it.
Well, did your mom do it for you?
No. Technically, I suppose I could change it. It's a little late now, but the wife just scheduled it. And it's not her fault. She wasn't trying to. She was just trying to find a schedule for some time, because otherwise, I will never go to the dentist. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get a G-Cal or something on that, but that's okay.
Yeah,
yes,
we got all
I had
that,
to wait an extra 2 weeks for my tooth repair because they didn't have an opening on a not show day. So, making sacrifices.
Okay, so you're making sacrifices.
Sacrifices here, living with a broken tooth. But it's back, baby. It's stronger than ever. Yeah, I did end up having to get that crown on there.
Yeah, I was wondering if you maybe had information that you could have brought to your dentist. K4.com had this headline here: human trials begin for new teeth regeneration drug researchers.
Yeah, this has been around for Yes, this has been around for a while. There's the biodentist. A lot of people I think they're called biological dentists. Apparently, regrowing your teeth has been a thing for a long time. But it looks like Big Pharma's just getting their hands on it, or just found a way to make money on it, or something.
Well, it's the Japanese, so they're gonna do some crazy things here.
I would love to try that out.
They're saying that their goal is to have it commercially available by 2030. So hey, you won't have anything and you'll be happy, but you'll also have your brand new teeth growing in everyone's mouth.
At this record, I'm sure I'll need it in 2030 as well. Sorry, at this rate, rather.
Yeah.
Let me think. Yeah, I don't have anything exciting except for I went to the water park again.
Oh, that's fun.
Dude, people should go to their water parks. Just go to the water park. You got a few
next
hours.
to Wild Rivers. I went all the time.
Just go to the water park. It's good for you.
I did go to the beach last week, and it's been a while since I was at the beach. It was very nice. I feel very spoiled living in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
I had two feelings. One was, wow, it's such a blessing to live here in this crazy nice weather and all this stuff. And then also, yeah, I could see God judging this whole place and this entire place sinking into the abyss. I could totally see it happening.
Mhm.
I want to mention just one more thing before we move on here. The episode of Millennial Mustard Seed.
Ah, yes.
Season 5, episode 146, Gonzo Shimura, Age of Deceit 4, exclusive and testimony is now available. So go check it out. Go check out Millennial Mustard Seed on your podcast player.
Oh,
and,
good. I'm
look for
glad
the
you
latest
found
episode.
the time for that. We're both on there now.
Yeah. We're about 46 episodes apart, Basil.
We got to get on more episodes of shows. That is something that we've said forever, and we need to do. So thank you very much to Millennial Mustard Seed for letting us come on.
Yeah. What would be the peak for you, Basil? Like, what show would be the peak?
Millennial
or goal?
Mustard Seed, obviously, dream
Of
come
course.
true. That's
Of
it.
course. So we're done.
Nobody else
We don't need
it.
any more goals.
I don't know. I mean, I think the obvious one is like Joe Rogan or something.
Would you really want to go on Joe Rogan, though?
I would go on Joe Rogan. Why not? Why would you not go on Joe Rogan? There's
I would. I
several
would go on Joe Rogan.
times where Joe Rogan is like sort of circling the
Circling the faith, or
No,
truth or faith.
circling the details that we are experts on. He's
Yeah.
kind of pontificating, or the conversation gets real close to it, and I'm like, if only somebody was just this one thing, telling this one thing. I think I could turn Joe Rogan into a Canarian pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, it would be cool to have those weird conversations with Joe Rogan, but
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
like a TJT episode. Honestly, it would just be like
True.
me and him hosting a show at each other.
If
Why? What's
TJT
yours?
survives,
It's dormant. That's how things survive, is they go dormant in the winter
Uh-huh.
months.
Yeah.
So
There's a
what's-
meme on that later on the show.
What's your answer?
My answer for what? Going on Joe Rogan, or not wanting to go on Joe Rogan?
What show do you want to go on?
Oh, what show? I haven't really thought about it.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I think, I don't know. Who can I?
I don't understand how Joe Rogan isn't like your easiest answer to this question.
I suppose it is, but there's a part of me that's like, I don't want that kind of attention.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
point.
want that much like people looking at
That's
me and my
true.
life, and like I don't need that anymore. Like I don't
You
know.
are
So,
you do sort of, yeah. You're putting yourself in a position that we are thankfully have been semi-shielded from for quite some time.
yeah,
Which
as
is
a
too
blessing.
popular.
Right. Yeah. Which I know that's not. I don't know if it's relatable. Probably not relatable for most people, I guess. But yeah,
I think
there's-
it comes from 10 years of experience of us doing what we do and watching our colleagues do what they do.
Yeah.
Is, it's kind of a mo money, mo problems thing. You get a certain level of popularity, and things can go pretty squirrely pretty quick.
I
I'm
mean,
not
it's
going to name
just-
any names, but we can all think of some examples.
It's crazy to me that there are so many people that are fighting to climb that mountain. Like climbing
Mhm.
over each other, trying to climb that mountain. And yeah, I've seen it change people. Incentives change. messages change, and I just don't, I don't want to be susceptible. Not that I am susceptible, but I just don't even want to have to deal with that.
You certainly are susceptible, Gons.
Of course I am. Everybody is susceptible to an offer.
No, we have often talked about how grateful we are to be where we're at. It's where God wants us now. It could have gone both ways. We've certainly been more popular in the past. But there's a sense of peace and protection that comes from kind of where we're at now. And as long as value for value is paying the bills, like that's it. We don't need to make $1 million just to make $1 million. If it meant having just the most, I don't know, uncomfortable attention on us and our personal lives and whatever, and going through and nitpicking every single thing we've ever said and stuff like that, just to cause trouble, getting write-ups and whatever, CNN being called right-wing extremist or something crazy like that.
Crazy right-wing googly-eyed extremist. That I am very curious about as a social experiment. This is just my sociology talking. As a social experiment, if Basil Rosewater goes on Joe Rogan, is the public internet truther, seeking community, are they strong enough to dox you? Do you think they could dox you?
When it comes to like real hackers, they can figure it out. There's always, if we've learned anything from the internet
or something,
if we've learned anything from the internet, is that there are ways for people to find stuff out that like we can't even comprehend.
We're not even aware that we're leaving some data trail that can be picked up on later, and
taking a look at the tape that I've used to tape the googly eyes on, and tracing that to like a distributor
Home Depot
at Walmart or whatever, and tracking the shipping serial numbers, just stuff like that. There's
the pretzel bag. When the pretzel bag fell, somebody's scanning the QR code on that thing. And
I would be curious though, if we could somehow, probably using AI or something, like collect every single piece of information that has ever been revealed or uttered about me, like on the thousands of hours of shows, on all the side shows, and all the stories I've told, whatever. Could an AI like take all of that and come to the right conclusion? It's an interesting question.
Don't give the social engineers any ideas. They're probably gonna.
No, dude, it's impossible. No, of course the CIA and the NSA like already know everything there is to know. We are not clever enough to be able to evade the most technologically advanced and brilliant internet spies that exist. So I don't know. But whatever God's doing, I'm okay with it. I'm here. I like it. Whatever he wants is what we're doing.
All right, Joe Rogan, here we come.
Just get a call like now.
Just right now, yeah.
Hi, Basil. Jesus just told me to call you out of nowhere and put you on the show.
That would totally be if Joe Rogan went full Christian, he'd be that guy. I was talking to Jesus this morning, bro.
Oh yeah, Jesus appeared to him in a vision and gave him my phone number, and now I have to be on the show.
He would totally
be pretty much
guy.
What it would take. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get going, Gons. Let's thank some executive producers.
Let's do it. Wrong button.
Starting the show.
Executive producers.
That's right, folks. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels. We are entirely sustained by the Lord Jesus Christ and you, our producers. It's value for value. So if you get any value out of what we do in any of the work we do, you have the opportunity. Some people consider it a responsibility. I'm not telling it you have to think it's a responsibility, but some producers take it on as their responsibility to put value back in on the show. And that's all sorts of ways of doing that. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. If you want to help out with whatever skills you have, maybe you're a web developer, maybe you're good at spreadsheets, maybe you can clip clips, whatever your God-given skills are, you can give your time to the show, and that's extremely valuable. Or if you're a talented artist or musician, or even if you're an untalented artist or musician, you can help create the culture here at the show by creating art and music and jingles for the show. That's extremely important as well. Or if all else fails, you can just support the show financially as well. That's obviously very needed. And you can learn more about all this by going to canarycry.support. And the executive producers are people who come in for $100 or more for any individual episode, and so that's why we thank them here at the top. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The one, the only executive producer, megastar, Sir Alex Protocol V2, Night of the Breen Protocol.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. He's coming in for $100.33. And he has been on a 301 episode streak and a 101 executive producer streak. I don't want to give it away, but we got our best men on the job of finding a way to properly honor the mega streaker, Sir Alex Protocol V2 Night of the Breen Protocol.
Chefs are cooking up something nice.
Stay tuned for that. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Next up, we have executive producer Rochelle.
Where'd you find this?
Rochelle.
And Rochelle comes in for $115.15.
Hey, thank you very much.
Fun. And a note here that says, please send a shout out to Sir Alex Protocol V2 Night of the Breen Protocol.
Ooh.
Shout out. You're getting shout outs from other execs, Sir Alex Protocol. Thank you. Undoubtedly a fellow producer. That's right. Your names are right next to each other. Thank you. And can I get a D-mooch for myself? Stay strong for Jesus.
D-mooch for
D-moochin'.
Rochelle.
Congratulations. Of course, if it's your first time producing the show financially, you are entitled to a D-mooch. I'm having a hard time believing that this is Rochelle's first financial support, but maybe she didn't get it last time. So thank you very much, Rochelle.
Yep,
and
thank you.
Congrats on the D-mooching.
Yeah.
That concludes our list of financial executive producers for the show. I've been noticing across V4V stuff, there's a little bit of a slump all around, and we notice this. There's waves. It comes up and down, and this is part of what people don't like about the value for value model, which is, if you're trying to look for any sort of consistency, you got to look at long term. We've been fairly consistent year over year for a few years. But yeah, these times come when everything slows down, fears in the economy, or just people, tax time is always trouble. Holidays are always trouble. But it's part of the faith building exercise that is value for value, both for us and for the producers. Because of course, we will know when it is time to stop making the show, because producers will stop producing. That is the signal. Hey, we're not bringing any value to people's lives, and so we're done. But we are extremely appreciative to all the producers who do come in and support the show, especially in these schlumps. And of course, thank you to the monthly producers in whatever form or shape or program you produce with. It's the supply droppers for $33.33 a month, the T-shirt council for $19.84 a month, and of course the canarycry.tube monthly producers for all sorts of different prices. But thank you to our monthly producers, because you're the only reason that we don't have a heart attack in times like this.
Yeah, and we're actually very close to our target on the canarycry.tube.
We just keep getting closer.
We're very, very, very close.
Keep getting closer. Go support at canarycry.tube. Sign up for a monthly producership. You can join the AOD4 focus group. The platform on the AOD4 focus group does have a monetization aspect to it. We could set a price on entry, and we may do that. I just want to make sure that everybody who is entitled to free entry gets their free entry before we do that. Yeah. All right, we got a few more people who came in to support financially. Let's thank them now, starting with producer Elio.
Elio
Comes in for 1111.
11. Uh-oh, here we go. Whoa.
11.
There it is.
Yep. 9 episode streak.
9 episodes, which means she's lit.
Where'd you find this?
Hey, you lit now.
You're lit now. Thank you, Elio.
Thank you, Elio.
Next up, we got producer Michael M.
Michael M
came in for $13.99 per month over at CanaryCry.tube, which means Michael M got invited to the AOD4 focus group.
Hey, there you go.
Next up, we got Sir Marty K, Night of the Wrong Timeline.
Sir Marty K.
Now, Sir Marty K came in a couple times, one for $33.33 last week and one for $7.77 this week, for a total of $49.99. And I am so baffled by some little gremlin keeps coming in and messing with Sir Marty K's streak. So right now, the temporary streak we have him on is 6 episodes in a row. He's on fire.
Oh, he's on fire. Yes, he is.
And now he comes in with an explanation about the selfie that he sent in last episode and the joke that he was born the same birthday as Jesus. The joke was, he says, that when I tell people that I have the same birthday as Jesus, people just want to take a selfie, which is why I look so annoyed in the pic. I hate selfies, and I'm not using it as a sleazy pickup line. I got more class than that, man. I never doubted you for a second, Sir Marty K. I wanted Gonzo to see what happened when I tried his advice. Well, Gonz, I'd say that's pretty good advice. If you gave someone advice that made a traditionally good-looking European woman want to take a selfie, that's pretty good advice for a sort of
a married 40-year-old,
isolated 40-year-old man. Yeah.
Hey, that's one for me.
It says, and
Gonz's
I did ask her
relationship advice.
It's worth more than something. I'm not sure. And I did ask her if it was okay if I showed it to my friends, and she was cool with it. My best buddy Basil. Thank you for that. I didn't doubt you for a second, Marty K. But it's good to know, when we keep getting kicked off of things, they've got us on edge.
Yeah, we don't want that message later from some. She happens to be part of some
she's some celebrity.
She sees it and wants to plaster us all over CNN for whatever, using her image.
So thank you very much, Sir Marty K, for your continued support. It means a whole bunch to us. I will say, let's see. Oh, I got your private email. We will be getting back to you on that, Sir Marty K. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that concludes the list of financial producers who came in above the amount of 777 and under the executive producer amount. Thank you so much. We have our streakers on the list here. We're going to thank them and their streak and get on back to the show. Starting with Sir Tristan, Night of the Garden, 46 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Tristan.
Sir Morph, 7 episodes in a row.
Sir Morph, thank you.
Doctor Who Done Dat, 102.
Thank you, Doctor Who Done Dat.
Miss Tinfoil Hatman, 62.
Thank you, Miss Tinfoil Hatman.
Veronica D, 407 in a row.
Thank you, Veronica D.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 443 in a row.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth, thank you.
And Sir Casey the Shield Knight, 452.
Sir Casey.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Thank you very much to all of our financial producers. We appreciate it very much. And if anybody else is interested, if this show brings any value to your life, we do try hard, but if it brings any value to your life, get involved with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Go to canarycry.support to learn more.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
CanaryCry.support.
Okie Flippy time.
Flippy time.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
It's time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. I know there's nothing we can do about it. This is coming from supercarblondie.com. The headline is this gas-pumping robotic arm the future of filling the tank? Now, we have covered this gas-pumping robotic arm. We covered it on September 2021, episode 390. But the thing about it was that it was strictly in China. It was a Chinese development we never imagined. In fact, I should probably go back and listen to that one. I wonder if I made any predictions or anything. I should have done that beforehand. But big news, it's in America. Gas pumping FLIPPY is in America. A gas pumping robotic arm has been specifically designed to offer, quote, top-level convenience for motorists. Denmark-based Autofuel reckons it may have hit on the next big thing when it comes to gas station design with its fully automated gas pumping robots. In a clip, which you can see above, a car is parked up on the forecourt where a robotic arm carefully and delicately opens up the fuel cap, grabs a gas nozzle, and begins to top up the car. Welcome to the future. And I think this is interesting, just for those who are listening. This robotic arm does not have the fuel pumping hoses sort of installed in it. You would think, gas pumping, you would just be a little nozzle on the end of the arm and it goes. No. This is a true FLIPPY. It's a robotic arm with actuators, with fingers that can be attached to the present gas pumping places. And it reaches over, opens up the little thingy, and then reaches over, grabs whatever your selected gasoline is, and very gingerly and tenderly fills it up for you, which, is a pretty good idea because we're talking about a constant conversation of, rebuilding the world for robots or building the robots for the world that exists. It's a constant struggle. We do not know who's going to win. But this particular gas-filling robot looks like it can just attach right onto your current gas station. Great. Perfect. Nothing can go wrong, said Basil. On its website, Autofuel explains that refueling is done just like it has been done for the past 70 years. And no major development has taken place, but in the same period, technology has developed faster than ever. And today we have fast internet, smartphones, AI assistants, and self-driving cars that will soon be present on the roads. According to them, gas stations with robotic fueling are the future.
Hey, I thought we're getting rid of gas cars.
That's a
is this
great
a good
point.
sign? Is this a good sign for that?
I
going to
think
stick
it's
around,
a good sign.
or...
I think it's a good sign for the fossil fuel industry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, it's not good for us because Saudi Arabia just decided that they're not going to sell their oil.
Oh, no. Well, there'll be the
dollars,
national divorce, and the United States will become the un-United States. And, after the Civil War, the oil will flow because Saudi Arabia wants to come in and take over. Now, this may sound like it's solving a problem that doesn't exist, but Autofuel says there'd actually be benefits for motorists and the gas station alike. Owners of the gas station will see increased revenue. Oh, really?
Oh,
you think so?
the
People will
ultimate.
buy more gas because of the robotic arm.
Well, it probably goes faster.
I'm not so sure. These things, they always move so slow and gingerly, as is shown in the video there.
I think there's something that happens psychologically if you're waiting in line for a machine to do something for you. Because you normally gas stations, you can pull up to a pump and just kind of sit there for a minute.
That's
collect
true.
some trash out of the car or something like that. You can take your time. But if it's a robot arm, there's a level of automation.
More of a time thing,
right? So you got like a psychological thing of somebody pulling up behind you, like, hey, you're done.
It's
Let's
the
go.
robot.
Let's move
Sorry,
on.
it's the robot's fault. It does say more time to spend with customers, meaning they're not pumping their own gas, so they're wandering your junk food aisle.
The
No
AM,
theft.
PM, yeah.
No theft, it says. No theft.
Why?
How
Because
do
the
you-
robot arm's going to attack them and...
So this is an interesting thing, Gons, and I don't know what it's like in Japan, but in Europe at least, almost all of Europe You pay for your gas after you pump it. You pull up, you pump your gas,
and then you pay.
And you can just drive away.
Yeah,
but
that's
the honor system of the European economy is such that I'm pretty sure most people take all what could be free gas and then they walk in and they pay for it. It is one of the strangest things
they walk
for an
in.
American.
They don't have little kiosks attached to the gas pump?
Many of them. Right. Many of them you have to walk in.
Oh, that's just bad business. It's bad business.
That's
guys.
what I'm saying. It's absolutely Euro people. If you are wondering what absolutely blows the mind of an American, more than anything, it is getting gas in Europe, where you drive up, you fill your tank, and you could simply just drive away. Nothing. I mean, now maybe this robotic arm will grab you. Yeah, you know, they'll take your license plate, and you'll like eventually get busted. I'm sure you can't do it
enough or something
often. Yeah, I don't know, but the fact that it's even possible, and it really seems to be. I've talked to a couple Euros about it. It seems to be that like the idea of paying for the gas before you get it is sort of like ludicrous and unfair or something. It's really hard to understand.
I mean, restaurants are like that still, and for the most part, we pay after we eat, so it's not the craziest idea.
I mean, it is crazy because you're just alone. There's nobody around you. You just pump your gas, and it's up to you to
God
walk
sees
in.
all the Europeans honestly paying for their gas.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this is one way in which the Europeans are like morally superior, I guess. But yeah, there's also like this cranky feeling about like the corporations having the leverage, like businesses having leverage over customers is kind of like a weird difference over there as well. Anyways, no theft, decreased spill and waste, and faster refueling times. While motorists can sit nice and cozy in their cars no matter the weather, avoid accidentally choosing the wrong fuel, or they can treat themselves to a coffee, all while knowing their car is filling up. And really, given the robots are doing everything from helping doctors perform surgery to dropping off our takeaways, should we be surprised that they could one day end up pumping out gas? I want to know what happens when you are showing up to, fill up a gas can. If you're
you just put it on the ground. It's fragile enough; it'll go down there, unscrew the top of there.
I wonder if the robot will see that you're trying to fill up a gas can, and if it's qualified to fill up the gas can for you, or if it'll do some sort of robot jujitsu and sort of pin you to the ground until the authorities get here.
Yeah. All of these gas stations will have a WorldCoin orb next to it. You got to scan your eyeball for the robot.
Yeah, this will be all hooked in with your carbon credits, your social credit score, everything.
Yeah.
It is also an interesting concept because the U.S. already kind of has a gas station sort of ethics quandary in that Oregon, you're not allowed to fill up your own gas.
I remember.
Yeah, you have a person comes and do it. You're not allowed to touch it, and this causes all sorts of frustration and culture shock for people not in Oregon going to Oregon. And then there's some like, I don't know. I've heard it that like, oh, why are we trusting any old person who pulls up with like an extremely flammable material, like, fuel and so there's a lot of that. But a lot of times you drive up to an Oregon gas station and it's like a 13-year-old kid or something, maybe 16. Like, is this really the chemical expert that we are trusting to fill up my gas tank?
Sure, sir. I'll fill it up. So, but there's also I think we talked about this when maybe it was the last time we talked about the robot arm in China pumping gas. The pumping gas for customers, at least for me, there's an element of chivalry or some kind of traditionalism where that's kind of how it used to be, that you pull up and then the attendant will pump gas for, especially if you're a woman. Like men are supposed to do
customer service, really.
Yeah, right. So in that sense, I don't know. Are these robot arms? Aren't they not reinforcing the patriarchy?
They're taking jobs. What are those 16-year-olds going to do in Oregon when a robot can do their job?
True.
Yeah. Anyways, there you go. There's your Flippy update for the day. Don't get used to it, folks.
The robot pumping?
The robot. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know what sometimes you just start talking and you don't know where it's going to go. I know for a fact you know what that's like, Gons.
Of course I do. It happens to me every moment.
That's right.
Of every show. Here we go.
shall hear wars and rumors of wars.
World War III unfolding right before our eyes. We're going to start with Russia.
Russia.
BBC reporting 8 killed in deadly fire at Moscow office building. This happens every so often. Every few weeks, it seems like a building's on fire and stuff's blowing up. People are jumping out of buildings. Actually, this has both. At least 8 people have died in a large office building fire near Moscow, the regional governor Andrei Vorobyov has said. Emergency officials told the state-owned TASS news agency that just one person was rescued from the blaze at the burning building in Fryazino, about 25 kilometers, it's about 15.5 miles, northeast of the capital. Interesting that they put the miles in there, BBC. Thank you for all the American readers. They must have known that they're going to get the clicks from the United States. 2 people were killed after they jumped from a window. Oh, so there's people that jumped from a window.
It's Russian defenestration. It's the Russian defenestration disease.
Yeah.
This was happening during COVID, which is, while COVID was ravaging the world or whatever, Russians just had this epidemic of Russians falling out of windows randomly. Usually they were some sort of, bank official or government operator or spy or something. But the open windows, are very dangerous in Russia. In this case, a little bit of a different situation, but I could not believe that it showed up.
It's 2 things coming together. So
I think we actually have some art from Sir Dove about Russian falling out of windows disease.
I think we do too. Yeah, 2 people were killed after they jumped from a window, while 6 died when the interior of the office collapsed in the blaze. Mr. Vorobyov wrote in a social media post. Footage online showed thick smoke billowing from the upper floors of the 8-story complex. There are conflicting reports about the building's purpose.
Now, this is where it gets weird. We're kind of focused a little bit more on the mainstream media's reporting of this because it's very suspicious.
Yeah, so remember, this is the BBC writing this. There are conflicting reports about the building's purpose. It once homed the Platon Research Institute and defense industry, according to TASS. Now, of course, TASS is the Russian propaganda news, the state-run official news agency. The statement.
So, the conflicting reports about the building's purpose. So it's being presented as just a fire, like an accidental fire. They're not saying there was any, foul play. They're not saying it was Ukraine. They're not saying it's part of the war. It's just a building caught on fire. But there are conflicting reports about the building's purpose. Now, purpose is a strange way to do that.
Only governments have it. Well, everybody has a purpose in a building, but
there's a difference between a purpose of a building and the occupants of a building.
Right.
So the occupants of a building can be anybody, but the purpose of the building, you would think the purpose of any building would be to have people inside of it. Or whatever.
Create
if the building has a different
place.
Purpose, what is the purpose of a building? It says it once homed the Platon Research Institute and defense industry. Those are 2 separate entities they're mentioning here, according to TASS. And TASS is what is that? Is it the Russian news agency?
It's the Russian state, state news, Yeah, so so the Platon Research Institute is capitalized, and then it says and defense industry, which is lowercase.
Yeah.
So just a general, freelancing defense industry people.
Maybe so maybe some mercenary offices or something.
Maybe, yeah. A statement to the agency from Ruselectronics, a Russia-owned electronics organization, said the building has been privately owned since the 1990s. However, opposition media outlets recently reported that Platon was based in the building as late as 2023. So BBC talking about opposing media outlets to the Rus Electronics.
They're referencing it's so weird because they just move on and they say the fire burned and it was very sad and it burned a lot. But right in the middle, they sandwich this weird little series of sentences about we don't know what the building was for, or there's conflicting reports about what the building was for. It once had the Platon Research Institute, but opposition media outlets, meaning our opposition, our maybe it was Russian opposition, maybe it's Ukrainian opposition. Somebody in opposition to the BBC says, oh yes, Platon was there, but they were based in the building as late as 2023. Now, if that company was in the building in 2023, what would that have to do with a fire in 2024? Giving the impression that they moved out as 2023. Or did they move out? It sounds like there's a question about whether or not Platon Research Institute was still present in the building or perhaps a part of the building's purpose. And then they just got to move on.
Well, plus the Rus Electronics thing is weird. For the statement from to the agency from Rus Electronics, which is a Russia-owned electronics organization, said the building has been privately owned since the 1990s.
Yeah, why would an electronics organization?
Why is this sentence even? This creates even more confusion. And so, is the opposing media outlets? Are they talking about themselves? Are they talking about anybody who is not Russia-owned? It's very unclear.
Just this blaring strangeness right in the middle of a story about a fire.
Yeah. Now let's move over to Newsweek, because Newsweek, it's interesting to contrast these articles. That was the BBC. This is from Newsweek. Fire rages at Moscow Research Center behind signal jamming tech. Oh, okay. That's a little more specific than what the BBC was given. Interesting. Maybe it's
signal jamming tech.
Yeah, a huge fire has engulfed a research center in Moscow that develops radio electronic systems for Russia's defense ministry. Videos circulating on social media show. Okay. The blaze.
BBC, why didn't you say this part?
Why did you confuse people? The blaze at the Platon Research Institute, located in the town of Fryazino in the Moscow region, was reported by local media and several Russian telegram channels, including MASH, which purports to have links to Russia's security services. Quote, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th floors are on fire, MASH said on Monday, sharing a video of the blaze. The governor of the Moscow region, Andrei Vorobyov, was cited by Russia's state-run news agency RIA Novosti as saying that 3 of the building's floors were engulfed in flames. Newsweek has contacted Russia's defense ministry for comment by email. And there's a embedded X post here for 57 from Jay in Kiev. For 57 years, the Platon Research Institute outside Moscow made tech for Russia's global killing machine until today. So it seems like this is some interesting propaganda coming from the other side as well.
And I find this strangeness. Okay, I mean, I believe Newsweek here, and you can look up the Platon Research Institute. There's a research organization that are responsible for a lot of signal jamming. Now, signal jamming, if you've been following the war in Ukraine, is Russia's sort of superpower right now, because Ukraine, they're using drones. There's of course the U.S. drones. Ukraine's using the suicide drones to attack inside Russia. They're using the little helicopter drones to drop, to take out tanks and take out Russian soldiers. And they're using the underwater drones to attack Crimea and Russian Navy. And Russia pretty quick learned that they can start jamming signals, and they can defend themselves from all these drones by jamming the signals. And then, lo and behold, the company responsible for jamming the signals just happens to catch on fire. And yet, even stranger, BBC does not report.
They don't mention it.
does not mention what it is or why it is. Of course, thank you, Newsweek.
Obscure.
Yeah. Newsweek is not afraid to report exactly what's going on here.
Well, I think the underlying thing with Newsweek is the intelligence apparatus saying, it was us. We did the fire.
Right.
Like,
Newsweek
that's kind
having...
of what the claim, without saying it, of course.
Newsweek having some interesting connections to the intelligence agencies. Right.
Yeah.
So that's sort of U.S. intelligence being like, don't worry about that signal jamming. But then going back again to the BBC thing, what is the purpose of the building?
Purpose of the building?
I wonder.
Trying to make it sound obscure and mysterious.
Yeah. I wonder if there was like actual signal jamming equipment being run from the building. And the fact that it's so close to Moscow, probably responsible for signal jamming drones attacking Moscow, which Ukraine has done several times now. I think we could see some pretty nasty drone attacks coming, coming into Russia, like all the way. And signal jamming, that even includes GPS systems for missiles. And, real big missiles, not just drones, but like serious glider missiles, the ones that, coincidentally, the U.S. just gave to Ukraine. And coincidentally, there was another very nasty missile attack that happened in Crimea. I'm going to jump over again to Newsweek, just so we can get it straight from the intelligence agencies. Lots of news out the past, 48 hours about a missile strike that killed a bunch of civilians in Crimea, and that the missiles were, of course, supplied by the United States, and even worse, the targeting of the missiles, the GPS targeting information was gathered by a United States drone in the sky who gave the coordinates to the Ukrainians firing American missiles. And so Putin's not very happy. This is maybe the closest, series of events we've had to the U.S. just not trying to hide that it's a proxy war anymore. It was U.S. weapons, U.S. targeting, U.S. intelligence. Maybe a maybe a Ukrainian guy pressed a button, but it's, Russia seems to be getting pretty tired of this. And so Newsweek comes out with I just love that they're just telling it to us right here in regards to media coverage. MAGA slams MAGA, I can't tell if even using the word MAGA is like a left-leaning thing or a right-leaning thing anymore. It seems like the left is the one that uses the term MAGA more than anybody now.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the ambiguity is part of the beauty of getting people that support MAGA to click on this, because MAGA slams Ukraine as the first 3 words of the headline will get your MAGA supporter to click on that, because a lot of them are against the Ukraine in the situation there. So it makes sense.
MAGA slams Ukraine strike on Crimea. World War III in overdrive. Now, remember, I just told you this Crimea was basically a United States strike, but MAGA slamming Ukraine strike on Crimea. World War III in overdrive. Right-wing American activists have sided with Russia. Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's a great way
Is
to
that
put
what
it.
happened? Okay, all right. Well,
Hey, Ukraine, you just blew up a bunch of civilians on a beach with cluster munitions. That's illegal and bad. You probably shouldn't do that. Oh, these right-wing American activists siding with Russia. Amid reports that several people, including children, were killed when U.S.-supplied Ukrainian missiles were shot down over a Crimean beach on Sunday. Yikes. Russian authorities say shards of destroyed weapons rained down on the Sevastopol beach in the Russian-occupied Ukrainian territory of Crimea. Listen to that, Russian-occupied Ukrainian territory. We're going back to 2014.
So complicated, man.
Going down to 2014 for this one. This is not a new Russian occupied. Anyways, injuring 151 beachgoers and killing 2 children and 2 adults. Footage aired on Russian state TV showed tourists fleeing while the wounded were carried away on sun loungers. Russia's defense ministry said responsibility for the attack, quote, is borne above all by Washington, and warned the atrocity would not go unpunished.
Oh boy.
Now, some American commentators, including several members of the Make America Great Again, MAGA movement, associated with former President Donald Trump, have aligned themselves with Moscow's views on the incident.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on.
An American missile with American guidance killed kids on a beach, and to just say that happened, you are aligning yourselves with Moscow's view on the incident. But hold on, Gons. You might think, what's the alternative?
That's what I'm wondering. What is the not Russian narrative of this event that took place?
Listen to this.
Okay.
Listen to this. The
All right,
not Russian take on the events. If you're a MAGA right-wing extremist Putin puppet Russia sympathizer, an American missile hit a beach and killed some kids and a bunch of other people, and that's not great.
That's not
great.
But
if you're not tainted and poisoned by the toxic,
you're not Putin-fied,
the toxicity of MAGA and Russia and Putin, says, but other American analysts, no description, just other ones.
Okay, other ones. All right,
just other ones. Argue that the deaths were caused by Russia shooting down the missiles flying overhead, adding Ukraine has the right to defend itself after Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded the country back in February 22, sparking global outrage and a bloody years-long conflict.
Back up. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, so the deaths were caused by Russia shooting down. This is
air defense.
Yeah. So every single time the perpetrators are called out, they pull this card. I don't think this card works anymore. They have to know it doesn't work.
It's so ludicrous. I mean, it's you know that this is nothing but a psyop. It's not anything. It's not news. It's nothing. It's exclusively psyop language. That, you're a MAGA extremist. You're a real horrible Russian supporter if you think that American missiles with American guidance blew up Russian children on a beach. But other American analysts, not the MAGA ones, argue that the deaths were caused by Russia shooting down the missiles flying. If you just would have let our missiles hit what we wanted them to hit, then these children wouldn't be dead, okay? Let us kill the children we want to kill, not the ones we didn't want to kill. And on top of that, by the way, this missile was carrying cluster munitions. Remember when Russia got in trouble for using cluster munitions? Remember how cluster munitions are a war crime, according to some human rights organizations, because cluster munitions leave behind, unexploded cluster munitions that kill civilians for years and years and decades and decades and decades. So this cluster munition attack by the United States supplied ATACMS with United States intelligence is Russia's fault for shooting them down. Russia's defending themselves, killed the children. And adding Ukraine has the right to defend itself after Russian President Vladimir Putin invaded by the country back in February. In one sentence, they're like, no, Russia defending itself is at fault for these missiles killing children, and Russia started the war anyways. I mean, Russia did the attack, so
this reminds me of October 7th last year, the first missiles that I think it hit Gaza, like certain parts of Gaza, and immediately it was, and people were suspecting Israel did it, and the first reports came out and said it was some other, I forget what group it was. It was some militant, it wasn't Hamas. It was some other group that was there testing a missile and it fell on a church or something like that. It's always somebody else doing some drill or protecting themselves. And it's collateral damage from something else. And in this case, the guys that you're not supposed to like.
Yeah.
So it's
just
the same play, same
just
playbook.
let our missiles hit what we want them to hit, and if you defend yourself from our missiles, then those dead children are on your hands.
Yeah.
Says here the latest attack in Crimea on Sunday occurred when 4 U.S. supplied Army tactical missile systems, ATACMS, missiles equipped with cluster warheads were shot down by Russian air defense systems, and the ammunition of a fifth detonated in midair, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Now, a lot of this, they're calling it shot down by Russian air defense systems. I read some other articles that mentioned signal jamming as a big part of this. Newsweek is saying they were shot down. Do I still have it open? I don't. I could find it. But this other coverage of the story said specifically that Russia jammed the signals on 4 of them or 3 of them, and then one of them went astray and exploded on the beach or whatever. So, it's interesting how the Russian signal jamming headquarters catches fire just, I think, a day after that the Russian signal jamming may have defended against this air attack, which led one of the missiles to explode and kill children. It's all Russia's fault. Responsibility for the deliberate missile attack on the civilians of Sebastopol is borne above all by Washington, which supplied these weapons to Ukraine, and by the Kyiv regime, from whose territory the strike was carried out, a spokesperson for the ministry said. The Russian Foreign Ministry summoned the U.S. ambassador, Lynn Tracy, on Monday before issuing a statement accusing the U.S. of involvement in an atrocity that it vowed would not go unpunished. And then just so we can cover our butts, honestly, is what it is, because Newsweek is presenting a very specific narrative.
Yeah, they paint the whole picture, huh? Not
just a really specific narrative. They do sort of end their article here with Newsweek has not yet been able to verify Russia's account of the attack and has reached out by email to the Russia's Defense Ministry and Ukraine's Ministry of Defense for further information and comment. Newsweek has also emailed the White House seeking a response to Russia's claim that the U.S. was responsible for the attack. So we sent out emails. It's not our fault. We sent out some emails. If we get anything wrong here, it's because we didn't get any emails back.
Okay. That's the excuse, huh?
That's the excuse, yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. I mean, this is some true blue. I mean, I think this kind of, I don't know, there was something about this article that rang as like some real, legit, true blue, like 1984 narrative crafting, some damage control. Whoops, we bombed a bunch of kids on a beach. How can we spin this to be Russia's fault? It's Russia's fault because they defended against our missiles and they started the war anyways. Whew, close one. And if anybody questions that narrative, you're a MAGA extremist.
Well, the BBC had that. Gave us nothing. Newsweek gave us probably too much information and a little bit of truth, and then let's weave our own sort of narrative for everybody else. I do want to touch on Telegraph here. I just found this, so I don't know. It's published today, June 24th, and the headline for Telegraph is Russian Space Control Center in Crimea struck by missiles.
Okay.
So
that's new.
Yeah, I don't know if it's huge fires were recorded by satellite at the scene of a suspected Ukrainian ATACMS strike on a Russian-controlled space control center in Crimea.
Space control center.
Whoa, it's getting crazy, man.
This sounds like some signal jamming operation too.
It does.
It sounds
it does.
like
I think
all
I
of
think we're
this.
getting.
This is all sort of attack on defense infrastructure. Because
comm infrastructure.
In signal jamming, I am not an authority on this, but from what I understand, from what I've read, that the very idea of signal jamming is a defensive thing. It's a defensive weapon. It's a defensive position, because you're not, your signal jamming is to thwart the enemy's communication, thwart the enemy's AI drones, thwart the enemy's GPS signals. It's to thwart an enemy attack more than anything else. So this looks like a couple attacks on signal jamming as a technology, a defensive technology on Russia. I don't support Russia's war in Ukraine. I don't support Russia's war in Ukraine. Did I mention I don't support Russia's war in Ukraine? That's kind of the main thing any YouTube moderator should be getting out of this. I do not support Russia's war in Ukraine. However, the U.S. media conglomeration of narrative crafting magicians are really working hard, working overtime recently.
Yeah, let me do a couple more here from this article. This is the Telegraph article. Photographs taken by NASA's firm's fire monitoring system picked up 2 distinct large blazes near the NIP-16 space communications complex in the village of Vitino on the occupied peninsula's western coast. Separate satellite images captured by Sentinel, our telegram operator, appeared to back up claims of large-scale blazes on the ground of the site. The details emerged after reports of Ukrainian forces launching multiple U.S.-supplied ATACMS in the direction of Crimea, which was illegally annexed by Moscow in 2014. And it just goes on here. It looks like... nothing... I have here open source researchers. Oh, I like this. Open source researchers. Are we open source researchers? On social media suggested Krasuka electronic warfare radar jammer had been positioned on the complex.
Hey, there it is. More signal jamming. Perfect.
Signal jamming. Yep. I think this is part of the war. I mean, the war is just different today.
No. More than anything, I think Learn More in YouTube has the right idea. Signs of a major upcoming attack. Disabling Russia's defensive electronic warfare infrastructure, and not just one, but multiple, and also, blaming an attack on them because of their signal jamming. This does not bode well for this week. It might be a very exciting week, not just because of the U.S. presidential debates, but for some signals that won't be getting jammed in Russia.
Well, I think something happening at the geopolitical world stage is great for the debate, especially if the topic or event is big enough to become, number 1 or number 2 in the line of questioning. The moderators will be delivering during the debate. Yeah. So I see this as part of the debate setup as well.
Totally.
One way or another.
Making this narrative about MAGA people take Russia's side of the story. MAGA people say that killing children on a beach is bad, and they believe Russia. That is 100%.
This is Biden is going to say this.
Yes.
Joe Biden is going to say,
he loves talking
Russia.
about MAGA.
He loves Putin. Yeah.
He loves saying MAGA extremists.
He does.
Yeah, MAGA extremists just recently defended an attack on children on a beach.
You killed children. Yeah. They're doing this so Joe Biden can stand up there on Thursday and say that Donald Trump killed children.
Yeah, on a beach.
Yep. Meanwhile, Joe's sniffing him.
Well, there you go. That'll come up in the debate. Everybody keep your ears out on Thursday.
We forgot to play the Ukraine jingle.
we got some more fun stories here, but should we think some did we get any voicemails?
We did. Let me wrap this segment out because we didn't play the Ukraine jingle, so that'll close us out here.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
And yes, we do have some messages from our speak pipe.
Please leave a message after the tone. record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Go to canarycrynewstalk.com on any of the tabs. Any of the pages on canarycrynewstalk.com. You'll find a green tab on the right side of the bottom. You can click on it. It'll open up a little window that allows you to record an audio message through your device of up to 90 seconds. You can leave us a private message. You can say, hey, this is a private message right at the top. We'd appreciate that so we don't accidentally play it on air. But also you can address the Canarium. You can bring us your poetry. We always appreciate the pre-show prayers. Thank you, Anthony H., for another pre-show prayer. Really, just bringing the pre-show prayers is very, very important for both Basil and I. So thank you, Anthony H., for doing that. And anybody else who wants to jump in with that, we welcome you to do that. Boots on the ground reports, meetup reports, cameos from celebrities, politicians, athletes, deceased mafia members. You're all welcome to leave a message. Today, we're going to start off with Rochelle. Now, is it executive producer Rochelle?
Yeah.
Or is that a different Rochelle?
I believe it's the same Michelle.
Okay.
Rochelle.
Executive producer Rochelle with a message.
Hey, Basil and Gons and people of the Canarium. If the two of you decide this is relevant, that is. I want to encourage you both and the producers and listeners, if you're listening, send these guys some feedback. I love what's going on right now. Gons, the focus group thing is awesome. What a huge project. I'm loving this behind the scenes look at production too. And Basil, oh, the bunker. I love the bunker. I want to schedule a Friday off work so I can call in and we can talk about important stuff. Like maybe we could compare bug out bags or do it yourself water filtration systems. I'm pretty sure that zip ties and duct tape are essential items. We could debate that, I guess. And pet meds. I know where you can get some good pet meds. Anyway, there's this one producer, who's making the other producers, is making us all look bad. I won't name any names. No, I'm just kidding. Personally, I just wanted to thank all the producers for taking a responsibility to support Canary Cry, because this show is really a blessing to me. And, probably a whole bunch of other people. Stay strong for Jesus.
Wow.
Thank you,
what a
Rochelle.
very sweet message. Yeah, thank you, Rochelle.
That. So awesome. Basil, there you go. The bunker
there we go. Basil's bunker, baby. We're moving. People are into it. I appreciate. I'm really calling for people to send in their, their notes, their opinions, their suggestions, their ideas. More than I think more than ever, I'm sort of basing the production and the evolution of that show directly on what producers are saying. And a lot of the material comes straight from producers who send me stuff as well. So I'm having a lot of fun over there. And I highly encourage, thank you, Rochelle, for saying all the nice things you said. I highly encourage people to, even if you're not tuning in live, I can see how there could be tend to be this idea that like, oh, I'm not tuning in live, so my opinion doesn't matter or whatever. But yeah, even if people are catching up on the RSS feed, send me an email. Let's go, baby. We're making the show together. Really appreciate that, Rochelle.
Which I have a confession to make, Basil.
I
did not publish the RSS of the last episode.
Yeah,
I failed.
Folks,
I failed.
This is happening. Podcast people, they are waiting for the Basil's Bunker to be posted.
Yeah, I failed. I was
glad
tending
you're
to my
taking
son
responsibility.
peeing in his bed. I'm not blaming him. I am saying I was occupied with
him.
other things. You can blame. No, I'm saying I'm blaming me. I'm
Don't
not blaming
pee in
my
the
son.
bed, kid.
Yeah. Son, Basil wants to have a conversation with you.
You can't pee in the bed because people need their podcasts on time.
Yeah. It's that final phase of trying to get the kid to figure out the potty. It's happening. We're very close, but it's man, boys are different. I'll say that. Girls, once they figure it out, girls are good to go. It's just different. Boys it's just been different, man. It's just it's the whole potty thing and poop humor and all that stuff.
You heard it here first, folks. Boys and girls are different. It's dangerous
ideas.
I know.
I'm so unwoke. It's not even funny. But all right, let's thank some producers. Oh, we got one more message. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm getting too hasty here. We got a message from Nomen Prunte.
Nomen Prunte here. This is an abecedarium form poem, which is an acrostic that follows the order of the alphabet. This is outer circle. Absolutes devoid of absolution, befitting a self-styled republic, certifiable cohabitation, disconnected and hidden premises, ever-evolving via entropy, fathom the esoteric at a cost. Gnosis hinges upon the intellect. Hindsight is validated upon death. Insights come with confirmation bias. Journey towards ever-elusive progress. Kindness substituted for salvation. Light as illumination, but not truth. Monopoly by entrenched schools of thought. No knowing without acknowledged unknown. Open minds and mouths best grasp solid things. Pragmatism and expediency. Query a logic led by opinion. Rhetoric, the de facto reasoning. Stars movement, predictive or foretold. Twilight of the gods, time for rebranding. Unbelief, one of two ways to be fooled. Vainglorious in conquest of shadows. Waiting on alchemy while slaves starve. Xanthopy learned nothing from Socrates. Yearning as a means but without an end. Zeal for truth, which bears fruit only God knows.
Amen.
Wow. That's sweet.
It's like a poetry jam session. I feel like we need to get some. I feel like I'm my beatnik days. Did you ever have a beatnik era?
Kind of.
I remember seeing you walk around. I mean, it wasn't beatnik per se, but it was your own thing happening.
This is an interesting fantasy we're about to hear about.
I'm not saying anything.
Where did you ever see me walking around anywhere?
No,
With my beret?
I want you to remember that I was in the building working the event at your graduation.
Oh, that's true.
It is true.
I don't know what that has to do with anything.
You stood out like, where's Waldo?
Yeah. Well, I kind of do that anywhere I go.
That's true. That's true.
People are like, holy smokes, look at those googly eyes.
Look at those googly eyes. They were young googly eyes at the time. No, I had a whole era where I read Jack Kerouac and On the Road, and I was really, I think I was in high school. I was really into that whole thing. But it just brought me back, Nomen Prunte, to those days. Thank you, Nomen Prunte. Appreciate it. All right, let's do some talent. Let's do some talent. Do some talent. Where's my talent jingles? Uh-oh. Jingle board freezing. Here we go.
Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content.
Weird. We recognize the good people producing the show here with their God-given talent. If you get value out of the show, you can provide value back by helping us build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry, News Talk Radio, The Bunker, the whole thing. So we appreciate all of you coming in with your art. We're going to start off with some audio production.
Audio production. Productions.
My machine is a little glitchy over here. I don't know what's going on. Can you hear that? The glitchiness?
I've had some weird glitchiness going on the show today. I haven't heard any complaints from you or the chat, so I was just pushing through.
Okay. All right. Well, here we are. Okay. First up, I guess first and only for audio today, we have Brian B coming in. Brian, we do have a portal. You can go to canarycry.art and you can send in your stuff there, but he emailed it to us. We appreciate it nonetheless. He has a note here. Hey, I had some free time and bought a fun audio editing app. Hopefully you can do something with it. Here's a joke, too. Oh, let's play the thing first.
A beautiful story that actually comes from the Bible and the book of Ecclesiastes. The great Pete Seeger set it to music, and a wonderful new group has turned it into a well-deserved hit. Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't know if it was too quiet or what. I had a hard time hearing what it was saying.
It was a little quiet. I can't tell if this is my machine kind of glitching out on me or if the file was really messed up. Hold on, let me see. Let me try to play it again here.
A beautiful story that actually comes from the Bible and the book of Ecclesiastes. The great Pete Seeger set it to music, and a wonderful new group has turned it into a well-deserved hit. Ladies and gentlemen, the
I'm not quite sure what's going on with that.
No,
I did hear something about the book of Ecclesiastes and written in the. It's kind of hard to tell.
We gotta pump it up or something. We gotta. We'll get in there. We'll get into the data.
Yeah, just for feedback, Brian B. I'm looking at the WAV file, which is the actual, the visuals of the audio file, and the main part with all the talking and everything is very small. There's a lot of clickety clackety sounds. It's probably the app or maybe something going on there, and then the explosions and stuff that happen. The transients are humongous, so we gotta. That's why I turned it down, actually. Normalize, compress, yeah.
Normalize, compress, enhance.
He does have an extra joke here with his message. Which pope had Ratatouille as their favorite movie? Any guesses, Basil?
Ratzinger.
Pope Ratzinger.
Haha.
You got it. Ooh, everything's kind of glitchy over here. That's not... Okay, all right. All right. Got my eye on you, computer. Thank you very much, Brian B. Appreciate it. Let's move on to some visuals.
One art, please.
Gonna start off with Sir Marty K, Night of the Wrong Timeline.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
I feel like we've talked about this before.
We're not doing it at all. I didn't know that it was. I thought
I'm not making that suggestion. Okay. I'm just saying certainly we have talked about the idea of sending in Hitler-based memes before. Have we not? I feel like we've had this conversation specifically about these exact pictures that he's sending in, which are funny pictures. That's true. I kind of get it, but where did I put them?
Trying to find some stuff here. Okay, so Sir Marty K, he's got a note here. I actually live in a country who were invaded and occupied for 5 years by this fella, talking about Hitler. So I got carte blanche to make memes about him.
Do you? Okay. Okay. So this is that funny picture of Hitler on a tiny little sled wearing his I don't know, German boy clothing. It's very funny. It's very sort of stiff, sitting on a little sled. It says, I love you pride, then Reichs you must slide on Tumblr. Oh yeah, these memes he sent in are based around if Hitler had a Tumblr. Did you ever have a Tumblr?
No. And I think we were looking at Tumblr because we were trying to build social media, all that stuff, 2012. And
this is old school. Yeah, this is a very old school social media thing. It's kind of like what survived of MySpace, basically. And you had just kind of put together your own little timeline of pictures and stuff, I think. Yeah. I really can't even describe Tumblr.
Yeah, Tumblr was weird. I never got it because of that. I was very confused about what it was. It was like, okay, what are we doing? Are we just sharing pictures?
I wonder if Sir Marty K was a Tumblr baby.
Maybe. I don't know.
Interesting.
Maybe this other meme will tell us.
Okay, here we go. This is Hitler's Tumblr profile. It's him in his knee-high socks and his lederhosen leaning up against a tree. It says, job, dictator, favorite food, veggies. He was a vegetarian, I think. Hobby, gaslighting people, goals, world domination, favorite song, L'amour toujours. What does that say underneath that?
Asunder Rouse remix.
Okay, well, we'll have to look that one up. Apparently it's Hitler's favorite Tumblr song. This is back when, I think your Tumblr page could have a song that played automatically. It's back in the days when people would learn HTML to program their social media pages. That's very funny. Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. Night of the Wrong Timeline.
Thank you, Sir Marty K. Thank you, Sir Marty K. Appreciate it.
I'm not gonna lie, do get nervous with all the Hitler pictures, but we're obviously making fun of Hitler. And I'm looking at Twitter today, and Trump is a Nazi is trending, and there are significantly more offensive Nazi memes being posted,
of course,
about Trump here. So,
yeah, well, we're trying to keep it clean. You know, that's the kind of image that can get you flagged on email.
You do get flagged,
stuff and whatnot. So yeah, don't take the bait all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sir Marty K. Appreciate you. We also have coming in next here, the Sentinel coming in, and actually the Sentinel, we missed a couple of or a Sentinel piece of art last week, and we'll do that here. He mentions it in the note. Meme Monday. Somehow my submission last week got missed, but that's okay. I doubled up this time with the meme missed last week too, and we'll start off with that one.
Oh, I was looking. We had his memes on Wednesday. I don't. Maybe he sent other memes that didn't make it in.
Oh, we did do this one on Wednesday.
I
think we missed it on Meme Monday.
I don't think we did this one. We did two of his memes on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
Don't worry about it. This is the Uno meme where it says on the left-hand side it says leave a 5-star rating and review or draw 25 cards, and on the right, people who send hate mail, and they've got a full hand of Uno cards.
Oh, you might have stumbled upon something there. The emu cards to compete against the Uno cards.
Yeah, there are definitely people. They listen to or watch every single show. They will never leave a 5-star rating in a review or any star rating in a review. And they're also the ones that love the show, watch the show, and take the time out of their day to send hate mail. It's a thing. These are certain takes all kinds to watch a podcast or listen to a podcast.
They're worse than the mooch. They're like mooching and hating. Come on.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's okay. Yeah. It's a matter of time. God will use all things for the good of those who love him.
Amen.
All right, what's next? Oh, this is good. This is the very buff bicep arms, the black arm and the white arm, and they're meeting in the middle, and they're flexing, and they are one. And on the left, we've got producers. On the right, we got Basil and Gons. And together, we have an awesome show. That's true. We couldn't do it without the producers. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yep, thank you. Great memes. Great memes. Appreciate it. The Sentinel. The memes aren't done yet, though.
No.
We have Warriors of Yah. I'll keep saying Warriors. You're right. I do say Warriors. Sorry. Warrior of Yah. Singular.
Yeah.
Just one Warrior of Yah. Shalom, Basil and Gons. Just wanted to say I appreciate you two and the blessing that the show is to us listeners. Keep it up, gents. Numbers 624 through 26.
Thank you, folks.
I will look that up.
Moral support. This moral support keeps us going through when other support is on a roller coaster. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Let's do this first one.
This is great. On the left, this is the meme format, where on the left it's a cute looking golden retriever, and the golden retriever is standing right next to what I believe is a movie prop sculpture of a terrifying werewolf. And on the left, that's Commander Biden to regular people. And then on the right, big scary werewolf guy, Commander Biden to Secret Service agents. Sure, the Secret Service agents tend to bring out the worst in that dog. And then he, in turn, brings out, their entrails and blood out of them.
Right. Yeah, great meme. We have one more here from Warrior of Yah.
Yeah, this is good. This is the, I forgot the official name of this, but it is the one where the gentleman walking with his girlfriend looks back behind his shoulder to see the lady in red walk by. And the gentleman is myself, Basil. I'm walking there with my girlfriend, TJT, and I just can't keep my eyes off of Basil's bunker. That's right, folks. There's a new gal in town.
TJT feeling neglected.
Always. It's I'm just following where I'm being led here, folks. Thank you very much, Warrior of Yah.
Thank you, Warrior of Yah. Appreciate it. I believe that is. I don't think we had any microfiction come in today. Am I missing something?
I don't know. I didn't see anything.
Double checking, but I don't think we got one.
Nope. The 19th was Stefan S.
I think we did that one.
Nope. I think that was it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Thank you to all the artists and musicians coming in with their talent. Go to canarycry.art. If you would like to submit a piece of art, and we'll feature it on the show. Help us build the culture. You can also go to canarycry.report. Submit an article, give us a little thing on it, and we'll consider it for the show. And it also creates a great catalog of research on our end anyway. We
totally.
Nice
we pop in there all the time.
Yeah, looking for stuff. So thank you very much. Appreciate all of you. Go to canarycry.support to learn more. And let's move on. You want to round this out with the little Antarctica? Let's do it.
So a new discovery, Antarctica.
Penguins.
Oh, yeah, the penguins. They're going to be hanging out. This is coming from the express.co.uk. And the headline here, Ecuador's president suggests bizarre plan to build prison in Antarctica.
Perfect.
Why? Why?
Perfect.
Prison. I mean,
yes, it's like Game of Thrones, the Watchman on the Wall. Wait, no, that's not it. Yeah, it is. The wall in the cold south of, I guess that's north of Game of Thrones. Instead of going to prison, people are exiled to go be soldiers on the wall that protects us from the zombies. I think Ecuador is trying to put together a defense force of criminals against the Nephilim penguins.
Or just food for the Nephilim penguins. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa has unveiled his desire to build a prison in Antarctica for a select group of criminals despite international restrictions. In an interview with The New Yorker, Noboa suggested plans for a small jail destined for prisoners linked to drug trafficking and serious crimes. Quote, "We have a slice of it, so why not?" he said. Quote,
good point.
"A prison for just 100 guys." Upon saying this, a senior aide reportedly interjected, quote, "Mr. President, it's not a bad idea, but I think the Antarctic nations are bound by a treaty, and their presence there is limited to scientific research and the like. But I will investigate," end quote.
That's what I'm talking about. This was immediately where my brain went. Of course, technically building a prison down there is not allowed except for scientific research. He's going to take drug traffickers and other criminals.
You don't want them around anyway. We need subjects for experiments.
Send them to Antarctica and use them for experiments. He's going to, I don't know, merge them with penguins, DNA.
Put the penguin pineal gland into them and see what happens.
Something. He could easily do this. He just has to make it that the prison is filled with the worst criminals and they're doing scientific experiments on them.
Yeah, I like how he talks about he owns a slice of it. He owns a slice of Antarctica.
It's true. They do have a slice. They have a pretty big slice of Antarctica. They could put a couple prisons down there. I mean, it's such a ludicrous... It seems like such a fictional idea, Like I said, it immediately strikes of Game of Thrones. That's just this. It's like Guantanamo Bay on steroids.
Sure. This makes me believe that there's already something like this that exists down there. And he's just, said the quiet part out loud or something. Because, these people don't have original ideas. It says here that there's, laws and stuff, and you're not allowed to do it. However, Noboa reportedly is looking into going around the restriction. If the facility was run by military forces, the prison technically would not be in breach of the rules. Quote, "Yes," Noboa was quoted as saying at this thought, quote, "It's a great possibility."
He's very excited about it.
I think it's already happening. I think
It's
he's excited that
already
he can finally talk about it, sort of. This comes
as Noboa's. This is what I love. This
yeah.
comes as Noboa's government has already recently confirmed plans for a new prison in the Ecuadorian province of Santa Elena in a bid to reduce overcrowding issue. It is also set to relieve the overpopulation of the 36 prisons in the country. So a lot of Ecuador has been having a lot of problems, flooding, overpopulation of the prisons. Maybe he's trying to pull like an Argentina or a El Salvador type of situation there.
Yeah.
Sending 100 guys. I mean, sounds kind of nice because 100 guys in a prison, that's a little bit more room than you would get at any of these overcrowded prisons. However, you are in Antarctica and you do need to have your genes spliced with Nephilim penguins, or you'll have to fight against some, dark horror that is trying to come into this realm from the portals beneath the ice.
Yeah, the governments and institutions of this world are largely responsible for there's a lot of documentations of direct but also indirectly creating the entire criminal apparatus of the whole world system, the underground that works in tandem with the public facing type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems to me that this is in line with number one, wanting to turn a good majority of the people, like maybe even half of the world, as criminals under the eye of some, government or institution. We've been heading in that direction for a long time. I think that's why Trump has been going through all this trial stuff. I think they're getting ready to call everybody in MAGA and right and all as criminals. That's been the trend. But for actual, like, really bad people, I don't see people being against this, other than maybe like the really, really woke people. And is this a problem for the Great White Desert?
Yeah, this is another part of the wokeification of Antarctica, the messaging that is the continent, the Great White Desert, the utopia for rich white liberals is, you've sent your LGBTQ people there, love it, great, sticking flags, in the snow. You've sent the women there. You're taking on feminist activist activities down there. We've covered that.
Mm-hmm.
We've done what else is there? What other sort of category?
There was a trans who ran.
There was a trans who did the bill, who climbed the mountain.
Yeah.
Did the flag there. So that's the whole point of this. Of course, all the climate change stuff is sort of the core principle going on down there. And this fits into the social justice category of prison reform, of criminal justice reform, where, they're trying to make it so just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you can't vote. Just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you can't get a gun. Just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you can't get a job. This idea that criminals are treated too harshly in the United States. Prison reform is a big, big thing, which complicates lots of other things because this actually came up with Hunter Biden because, of course, Hunter Biden getting his felonies, I think they were, or whatever, now makes it so he can't own a gun and I think can't vote. And so prison reform activists are like, we can't really celebrate this because we want to make it okay for but also he's a crackhead. But also, we want him, geez. So it's like kind of throwing a wrench in a lot of the social justice stuff. This is a great opportunity to connect Antarctica with prison reform. Hey, we built a little prison, only 100 guys. It's not overcrowded. It's not, it's a nice place. And they're not just being kept down there for, gene splicing, but they're kept down there because they can really get away from it all. The gangs can't operate because they're so far away. They have therapy 3 times a day. They do arts and crafts. And the prisoners who come out of the Antarctica prison system, are repentant and reformed. And so now we should send all prisoners down there. It's just another brick in the wall of the wokeification of Antarctica.
Sure, and I guess that's the crowd that's, like you said, are going to be experimenting on. If we could look back at history, it's some of these folks that get reeled into the bleeding edges of technological and scientific research. So, and again, yes, the whole premise being, oh yeah, they're here for, they're prisoners, but also science.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. You can maybe, can you imagine being...
They serve their sentences at the speed of science, Gons.
Right. Can you imagine being a criminal and not making the 100 cut? Would you be offended? You're
I
like
would,
this
if I
lifelong
was in
criminal guy, and Noboa is like, nah, I'm sorry, you don't make the 100. I would be furious. I'd be like, man.
Well, I think that's the
stay loyal.
question. That's the question. Is it going to be nice to go to Antarctica? I mean, being stuck in an overcrowded Ecuadorian prison does not sound fun to me. I think I would prefer to take my chances and go down to Antarctica.
Just got to fight off the Nephilim penguins instead of
I've been
Brock
talking
from
about
the other cell.
We've been talking about finding a way to go down and do some reporting from Antarctica. You know, we talked about getting on a scientific vessel. We talked about taking one of the cruises down there. We've been talking about doing a show from Antarctica for a long time. Maybe Ecuadorian prison is one
we got our guy. We got our
option.
guy. Somewhere in the Ecuadorian prisons is our guy.
I would much rather serve in an Antarctican prison than an Ecuadorian prison if I had to choose.
I hope this individual is listening, that they allow podcasts in the Ecuadorian prisons, and then they hear about us and our mission for Antarctica, and then he gets chosen, and we have an inside guy.
It's like a movie. There's a Antarctica prison, and then there's like the prisoners take control of the Antarctica prison. It's like a jailbreak type of thing, kind of like what's that island prison in Alcatraz?
Alcatraz,
in San
yeah, I was
Francisco.
thinking Shawshank.
It's like Alcatraz. It's like a Guantanamo Bay. They're prisoners down in Antarctica, and they take over the prison, and now they're in charge. But then at night, a knocking comes at the door. What is that? We've never had to deal with this. Usually the guards are the ones dealing with the Nephilim penguins. Oh no! And then it's, it's Ecuadorian drug traffickers fighting the Nephilim penguins. I think it's a pretty good flick.
I think so too. I think, The 100 prisoners are going to go in. They're going to come out with 300 and clone these guys.
Oh, cloning. Okay. Yeah.
All kinds of possibilities.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate you producing the show, and all the ways the producers keep the show going. Means a lot. Can't wait to jump into the Age of Deceit 4 focus group. I'll see you guys over there. Keep taking those surveys. Keep watching those videos, because we are almost to releasing the 5th segment of Age of Deceit 4. And it's not too late, folks. Head on over to canarycry.tube. Sign up for a monthly subscription over there, a monthly producership, and we'll add you to the AOD Forcus group. People are loving it. It's a real gem over there. So thank you to our financial producers, our very talented producers, and of course, thanks to our producers who help out with their time, aka the timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Yep, timestampers. We love them. They're so great, so faithful. They timestamp the show. That goes into so much of our back-end processes. It would be impossible for us to do it without them, and we really appreciate it. Who did the timestamps for last episode? I believe for episode 750, it was Morgan E. Thank you very much, Morgan E. Appreciate that. Thank you to Jam for the links. Thank you to Joe for Joeing. Thank you to Clank for clanking. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with everybody you know, because word of mouth cannot be censored. It cannot be censored. And of course, you can find other ways to share the show. Of course, do it with your social media. Take it down, print out, go to canarycrystreetteam.com, print out some flyers, hang it up down at the YMCA or whatever. But you can always find your own unique way to share the show. This show is built upon the unique ideas and skills and talents of its producers, and our signal has been jammed for too long. I think maybe the Russians have been jamming our signal. We've been, having our YouTube signal jammed, our text message alert system signal jammed, our email alert system jammed. Our signals are being jammed, Gons. So if anybody knows where all this signal jamming is coming from, let's unjam the signal, okay? So go to your local Unjam the Signal store. Make sure to buy in bulk, whatever it is that unjams the signal, and just let it fly. I'm not going to suggest anything that could possibly be misconstrued as something bannable on YouTube, of course, but let's just unjam the signal. You can do it any way you want, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! Don't ever silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah. Gons, you got any last words?
Yeah, I just found this video called Cognify, and they're claiming, let me see here. Yeah, they're talking about how they can create these prisons where criminals can spend just a few minutes in some kind of virtual state and serve their whole sentence. Cognify could someday create artificial memories directly into prisoners' brains. These complex, vivid, and lifelike memories are created in real time using AI-generated content. The AI is going to allow them to serve their prison sentences.
So it
time travel.
So it feels to them like they're in for years, but it's really only a few minutes.
Something like that. Yeah,
that's horrific.
Yeah, some crazy thing.
I mean, I guess I'd rather, but that doesn't protect society from the crazy killers to have them put away for a few minutes.
Well, no, but they feel pain. They feel the pain and the suffering that is.
So the hope is that a life sentence in their brain would reform them to not be
something like that.
Bad people. Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Just repent, folks. Just
repent. A brave new world, folks. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Crown News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Wives in the cosmos, children in the
space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
The supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced 3 Gs of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into...
Unstrapped.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Previous anchor.
Yeah, Bezos is a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space. Children in the cosmos. Brother. Wives in the cosmos. Children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. days, man.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. You have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It'll be their call out. You have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Go ahead and...
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
I love the Great Reset.
Let's invite some dudes over and fellowship tonight.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary, cry, support.